welcome back to Black Winter Nights here on the D20 Multiverse with myself, Oliver Dungeon Master, and my lovely returning players, the Black Winter Knights. Ow, I just hit my head on the wall. As you guys out there know, we've been taking a break over the Christmas holidays and are now back to bring you live D&D beaming out of Wellington, New Zealand, where nerds are power. So,
still trying to do the first catchphrase.
Couldn't wish on anything better over the break, Oliver.
It's like you had all this time to think of a better catchphrase. And...
No, but they just figured out better ways of trying to
work it. Yeah. Exactly right. Thank you guys for joining us again. Thanks for the people that have been on the Discord chatting to me and Dave and some of the players about D&D in general and Critical Role and all that kind of stuff. Remember, check out our Discord if you want to join that conversation. We'd love to give a shout out for our new Twitch followers, Schwix, Down to Chill, Kawaii Ali. I know that's Japanese for cute.
Cute Ellie?
Yeah. Kind of rates herself, but that works, because so do I. 868. Don't know what the numbers mean. Starry Hannah Love. Cool name. I like that. You spelled Starry wrong. Danny is for the win. What?
You just criticise the people that are following your channel.
You guys know I love you. Because you follow our channel. That's great. And Mim111. Thank you guys for following. You guys are now official D20 Multiverse Twitch followers, which means you're the coolest people in the universe, as decided by me.
Wow.
I know. It's an official accolade. You can put that on your CV. So, I suppose what we're all here for is to play some Dungeons and Dragons, so maybe we should do that, because it's what it's about.
It's up to you, Ollie.
Actually, I've got some beat poetry that I've been working on, if you guys don't mind spending the next 2
Considering
hours.
all the responses we had for your rap, no.
Hey man, that was a quality rap. If you want to check that out, that's one of our latest videos on the old YouTube. Anyway, back into the world, back into Elisia, specifically the continent Ukast. The party, having defeated Nemesai the Dragon Rider, king of the Four Lords of Violence, heralded a new age of peace for Ukast. In fact, with them, those shadows driven back into the wildernesses and beyond and deeper into the earth, Ukast enjoyed an age of peace. The kingdoms flourished. King Argon of the City of Perfect Gold made a beautiful land, and throughout the land, cries of joy were heard from many a people. Now, we travel forward in time 6 months after that fateful battle and find ourselves in a lowly but lively tavern. As the hearth glows brightly in the corner of the room, the wooden floors stained with a bit of spilled ale and wine, as halflings wearing nice City of Perfect Gold official robes, carrying plates of mead and meat, as a halfling bumps into a table and a few grapes roll onto the floor, we see Gorstag, the worshipper of Pelor and cleric, sitting, looking rather forlorn at a table by himself in the corner of the room. You notice, Gorstag, that some of the other adventurers and commoners within this place are giving you a little bit of an eye. Some of them may have heard of your tales and the glory that is the Temple of Pelor, which is now flourishing in Duskin. That's where you find yourself at this moment. However, across the room, you see the rusty door to this small tavern open, and in walks none other than the orc, half-orc, barbarian-ish character.
It's a mystery.
Who, boof, boof, heavy footfalls his way into the tavern, immediately sees you. Now, you guys have not seen each other for several months, but of course, there's that spark of recognition in your eyes as you recognize each other.
I'll lift my tankard and... Tankard? Whatever. And say, well met, my friend. It's been too long.
Alright. I wave at the halflings and request 2 drinks.
And they rush.
Simply by indicating to.
At great speed. One of them actually puts all the food he was carrying on a table that is not the table he was delivering to. And as the halflings at that table just take opportunity and start eating, he rushes to behind the bar and immediately pours 2 of the largest tankards he can find, carries 1 in each hand precariously as small bits of foam and beer spill over the side, and places them in front of you, nods, bows, and then scurries off to retrieve the meat that is being greedily eaten by the other halflings.
I swivel with the 2 drinks, drink 1, and then drink the other.
I'm just still sipping my much smaller glass of ale.
Where you been?
I've been at Duskin. The duties of the temple have kept me quite busy for the last 6 months.
Any more of those zombie fuckers up there?
Well, we're doing what we can, but yes. How about yourself?
Been all around. Been trying to find my missing family. Found a few. Found people who cooperated. Found people who didn't. Made them cooperate. Usual stuff. You know what I mean?
I do. So you still, is that what brings you back to the City of Perfect Gold?
Well, I've heard traces of orc slavery, and I've been following the leads that I have, and so far they're winding me back to a place that we've already been heralded to once.
Where's that?
Well, a lady called Milandria has called us there.
Ah.
Yes. The floating city. And that is where I will go to find this further information that I seek. I've had some training already in a couple of different things. Not just in fighting, but also in persuading people, and when they're not being persuasive, figuring that out.
Gorstag, as you look at Orthanc, you can see new but fresh cut bruises and lacerations on his face. His hardened hands, hulking size. You also notice they're a bit more weathered, and a bit more stained with the age of time. However, as you guys sit and eventually the sun sets throughout the window to the right side and moonlight starts streaming through once more, the tavern goes into a bit of a lulled state as some of the patrons discuss life in the city, and certainly the new entrants that have come for the King of the Ring tournament, still in full-fledged, but now almost worldwide it seems, as adventurers and challengers from all of Elisia have been joining the City of Perfect Gold for tournaments of strength, dexterity and such. As you guys stare out into the moonlight, you get a sense, Gorstag, of this vague kind of shimmer of like a cloud passing over the skies of your mind, and as you stare into your drink you just see a little shimmer, refreshing sunlight kind of just even in the evening. You notice a glint of the light of Palor, and that's when your vision tunnels, and out in the wildernesses of Ukast you see a familiar face, Dane of the Dankills, currently trudging through a couple of forests on the whim of a tidbit of information about his lineage, his ancestry. Dane, you wander through thick brambled bushes, avoiding the sounds of bears and such, attuned to the forest as you are. You'd heard from a wandering traveller, a merchant in fact, that the line of the Dankills can be traced to a small settlement near Refuge in the east of Ukast. And Gorstag, your vision comes back and you see once more that you're sitting across from Orthanc. The tavern itself is now quite quiet. The halflings are going about mending broken cups and that kind of thing. The rest of the patrons have gotten up and left, and you guys find yourself in a mostly empty bar. However, many miles away, in the floating city of Andur, amongst a township on a great place, built in fact on the very rock that is known as the Calm Stone. Basically a very rare mineral, but in abundance beneath the city. You can see the city itself travelling over western Ukast, the forests down below, Blackwind Forest and such, and there you see this woman staring deep into a grand orb, her robe over her face with metalwork on the top. You recognise her as Milandria, and as she stares into this great orb, the swirling smokes within, she kind of motions, and you see two figures step from the darkness. One quite large and hulking, as he steps forward. The other more graceful and slender also steps to her side. As she gazes into the orb, this kind of vision, more like intruding dream in all of your minds, simultaneously, although you're unaware of that for now. She simply looks. Her eyes widen, her eyes turn to pinpricks, and she immediately stands. You just hear the words, "It has to be now." And then the dream that connected all four of you snaps, and you're back once more. The fluidness and the quickness, the succession of these visions is unlike anything Palo has gifted you before. Usually it's, a small nudge in a certain place. However, as you guys sit in the tavern, as you dredge through the forests, and we'll save you for now, small human rushes into the tavern and lays a silver envelope at your table and nods, does a quick prayer to Palor, and vanishes before you can say much else.
You're expecting a letter?
Nope. Are you?
is it addressed to anyone in particular, or does it like have a?
It's got, in fact, the now official seal of the Black Winter Knights.
Well, I'll open it.
Okay. Gorstag whips out a small blade, cuts through the seal, and inside, silver glinting paper made from some kind of silk / pulp of maybe some grand trees somewhere in an elven forest perhaps, and written in beautiful black calligraphy, a simple invitation to meet outside Blackwinter Forest in 2 hours, signed by Milandria.
Do I recognise that signature?
Please roll insight.
Oh boy.
First roll of 2018.
22.
Oh!
That's a fairly good one.
Okay, first official roll for 2018 is a 22. Very nice, very nice. I imagine that was a natural 19.
Natural 18.
Oh wow, okay, you got +4 on your insight. Alright. Yeah, so the lettering itself is undeniably elven in the fact that it is very elegantly written. And Milandria, from what you know, yes, this is her seal, this is her signature.
That's the real deal. She can see all sorts of shit from up there.
Yeah.
We better chase this.
All right. Yeah, that's 2 hours. We got time for another drink.
Got time for yeah.
As the ale pours on and drinks clink to drinks, as the ale stores diminish quite considerably within the tavern, eventually the time rolls around, and the great chiming clocks in the City of Perfect Gold that ring through the grounds, awakening a few of the lighter sleepers in some of the tavern inns. But you guys are signalled, and eventually you get up and pay your tabs. A considerable amount of gold, but you're drinking with Ortha, so understandable. Off you go. Essentially, you make your way throughout the City of Perfect Gold, which has changed considerably in the last 6 months. More statues have arisen. The demeanour of the common folk is quite high, in fact. Travellers and entertainers come from all around Elisia, and the place itself is a buzz of new ideas and certainly new weapons and such as well. You wander through the marketplace, largely
Drunk
being
Orphan
taken up.
is being tempted.
Eventually you make your way out the gates, where the guards turn to one another. Look, there is no way at all that you could best a bugbear in a competition of dice on the rising sun of the planets of the New Age. Look, my friend, I do not... Oh! Hello, my friends! Leaving, are you?
Just popping out. We'll probably be back tonight.
Sure.
Very well, my
Potentially,
friends,
yeah.
very well. They actually flick you a couple of coins, essentially coins of entrance to City of Perfect Gold. Get you through the gates, should they not be on there next time you arrive. However, you stride out into the middle of a black inky sky with small diamond stars glinting down upon you. It's maybe 1, 2 in the morning. The calm of the forest is absolute. The occasional sound of birds and buzzing creatures. However, the calm is short-lived, as out rushes a woman, an elven woman in an unmistakable metalwork cloak, who rushes up to the sides of you, and just grabs you both. And as she does, this bright golden light comes shining down upon you, and you feel your skin burn with quite an intensity. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Panic a little bit.
Okay.
Quietly, so that choir boy doesn't think I'm,
As the burning on your skin intensifies, as the burning on your skin intensifies, so the colour of the bright golden light, which burns right through your form. You look down as small strips of your skin just start disintegrating. As she holds you tighter, you can feel the grip of her hands on your necks, and that actually hurts as well. As you look down, you see you travelling up your legs, this light that's just peeling apart your physical form. It only lasts about 5 seconds, however, as suddenly your vision rips you from the ground. You're travelled directly upwards in a beam of extreme speed. You find yourselves as almost particles, this kind of weird mist that just shoots right up in a beam of golden light. It hits a bedrock of crystalline energies and stones forged, it seems, by some entity, and you travel straight through it and materialize. Can you both make a dexterity saving throw to see just how well you land?
6.
Natural 1.
Yeah.
Face down you plant as Milandria lands perfectly, standing tall. You find yourselves in a grand room. In fact, you find yourselves in the room of the floating city of Andior, the Grand Orb. This monolithic structure in the centre of the room, the largest scrying device or channel of arcane energy you've ever seen. Milandria turns to you both. Well, you made it, and on time as well.
I feel like we didn't have much of a choice in that. Would you generally consider polite to say hello or ask us before you tear us apart and transport us to a floating city?
I must ask your forgiveness. What I saw in the orb, there is no more time. Please. And she motions. And as you get a sense of your surroundings, you find yourself in a silver chamber, in the center of which is the orb. Coming off the edges of the orb, this fine gold work in the floor that leads to 7 different channels. There's small, like, pods within the room. As she motions, you hear heavy footfall as the silhouette of a Goliath-sized creature steps forward. In fact, standing here,
That was a great entry, the whole silhouette of a Goliath-sized creature. In fact, it is a Goliath.
yes, he steps forward, large, shimmers across his chain mail as the light kind of glints off. He carries large weapons.
I've got a mace and a shield.
A mace and a shield, I knew that.
And a great sword on my back.
Yeah. So you can see this figure, he kind of takes a few steps, and Milandria just points and casts something at the orb. You're not too sure what. There's a shimmer of arcane. She motions again, and the figure that you've seen in the vision, the slender creature, also steps forward. You notice a raven on his shoulder, who looks quite alert, kind of darting its head around, watching all of you. You can see a small dagger on his hilt, but he doesn't seem to be carrying too much more other than that. As for Milandria, she stares into the grand orb. She turns to you 4 and points. You see a shimmer reflection in the orb of the other of your party. You see a familiar scythe glinting on his back. But that shifts and fades. She actually starts casting things one at a time into the orb as she mumbles. Is there anything you guys would like to do whilst you're in this room?
Did she suck you up from the ground too?
Yes, in fact, both of you had been teleported through the same system of crystals.
Do you...
No way. No way.
Yeah. Whoa.
And you?
Yeah. So do you know why we're here?
Do we know why we're here?
No, in fact, these two that you start talking to discuss about receiving information in the dead of night, telling them to come to the floating city of Andor, for promises of gold and such. In fact...
I think she's going to blackmail me. What were your crimes?
Well,
Let's not talk about this.
Yeah. I'm a cleric of the god Palor, so crime isn't really my specialty.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
That's probably why she's got blackmail information on you then.
I don't know if I like the tone of this conversation, to be honest.
As you guys go about your conversation, you get a better sense of the room. You can see that it arcs quite brightly into the top and points to a fine metalwork on the roof. Eventually, Milandria stops with the orb, seemingly happy with what's happened there, and she turns and simply just points you, one at a time, to these weird golden pods at the edge of the room. What would you like to do?
Before we go any further, you're going to need to start doing some explaining. Nice golden pods, I'm not sure what you want me to do with it, but you need to tell me why you brought me here.
Forgiveness. This one is distrustful, yes?
Oh well, he's a quiet boy, he can't help it.
Understand. Now, you must understand that my position here in the floating city was granted to use the wonderful artifact, the Great Orb. I had an affinity with it, hence why they chose me for this task. But as of late, there seems to be a darkness growing somewhere. You yourselves heralded an age of peace for Ukast, and there's not enough I can do to thank you for that. But I sense a place that now needs you more. Your trials and tribulations which you've found in the great continent of the Iron War have not gone unnoticed. In fact, the age that once was, that stretched before us in this great place, was one of love and happiness. Obviously that did not last long, but thanks to you it is back. I require you to travel somewhere at my bequest. I've put together a group, and she motions to the other two that you have not seen before this day. I believe this is how it's meant to happen. This is what's meant to occur. This is where you need to go. And she casts into the great orb, and you see what looks like a grand wasteland of dark rocks, broken spines, a few skeletons here and there, dark trees and such. Her eyes actually shimmer with the reflection of the orb, and she's lost for a second as she mumbles incoherently.
Looks dangerous.
Looks beautiful.
You do notice in the visions that are kind of hazy and muddied that there are large numbers of orcs being jabbed and pushed. You hear the clanking of chains. Gorstag, you see a wealth of people needing aid and healing. Eventually she snaps out and... My apologies.
Where is this land?
This is the Warlands in Sinjera. Place of great darkness. A place that needs cleansing. If I'm correct, and she casts into the great orb, you can now see these tribes, these hordes of these dark creatures, putting aside old weapons and being heralded with these great machines. You see flicks and shimmers of instruments of war, and she comes back once more. And I'm sorry. The orb has an effect on the ones who use it.
Great power at a great cost.
I at your approval, I wish to send you there. I can bring you back once you're done.
What are we doing there?
That's the gold orbs that we're supposed to be going into. The cylinders.
The floating city of Andur is built on a bed of crystal, the like of which provides a great channel for the powers of the arcane. Through it, spells are magnified many, many times. The orb is built right on the channel. It's how I brought you all here. In fact, it's how the city itself travels through the sky. There's not much I can gift you in the way of preparations, and from what I've seen, our time has run out. I must send you today. Now.
What are we to do there?
Find what is causing this land to be quite so temperamental. As of late, I fear the arcane influence is becoming greater. I fear it may be irretrievable once it takes hold. Will you step into these pods?
I will.
Yeah, it's enough for me. I'll do it.
I mean, I exist to spread Palor's light to all the dark places of the world, but I do have commitments here. Are you able to send a message to the Temple in Duskin to tell them that I've gone and that Alan's in charge?
Of course. Message from the Grand Master. Let it be done.
One other question. The slaves, where on this continent are they?
I believe most of them have been taken to the Warlands. That is no easy scape to cross. I will send you directly into the heart of the most protected area of the Warlands. There you will find a safe enough place to gather your wits before you go any further.
Fair enough.
The orb crackles and there's this snake of blue energy around it. It has to be now. And she motions and all the gold work on the floor lights up. Starts glowing, humming a little bit.
Yep.
Each of you step into one of these small chambers, this little alcove in these 7 points across the room. Milandria, her eyes cloud over once more, and she digs herself, her consciousness deep into the orb. As you stand there, you see your faces illuminated from below in this golden light. And as she chants, the energy of the orb starts crackling once more. A snake of blue energy goes around it. The energy travels into the gold channels, and the entire room starts buzzing and humming. In fact, the very lights of the room escalate to such a point where you're blinded by this white humming light, and through it you see these small channels almost like cherry blossoms on a tree, but multiple colours. You're getting close into the points of small existence, tiny particles. She turns to each of you, her eyes completely white, completely clouded over. Thank you, heroes. Your help will be... Oh! And she falls to her knees. She reaches out to the orb and her hand touches it. As it does, you hear this horrible singeing of flesh. You start seeing she tries to remove it, but it's now burnt to the orb. Flesh welded to cold stone. No, it has to be! And as the spell starts rippling through you all, a kind of dimension door, but magnified many times by the channels of the arcane crystals. Can you all please make a wisdom save?
Have you seen the movie The Fly?
We'll be unstoppable.
Yes.
I have another.
16 legs.
Net 20.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I have a creature in my pod with me. Anyway,
15.
12.
20 modified.
Okay.
I mean, a raven, right?
As for the half-elf and Gorstag, you manage to keep some kind of sanity through this all,
It's not a fly.
but the rest of you, you find yourselves, the white that was in front of you, the kind of almost comforting light that was there, immediately goes black, and you just hear laughter in your own minds, very, very loud, almost painful. This thought that you can't shake. It's just louder and louder, just this cackling laughter. As you see Milandria's hand fused to the orbs, the blackness kind of shifts a little bit, and on the other side, although not corporeal, you see the form of a hooded figure whose hand also fused to the orb. Milandria screams this horrible scream that echoes through the chambers, and she simply says, "No! They go where I say!" And the laughter once more kicks up in all your minds. The orb starts cracking throughout as she tries her best to counteract this spell being cast by this other figure. You actually witness the orb shock right through her arm, to the point where she just falls unconscious. The room around you dematerializes, and you find yourself in a corridor of white and blue light, that of which you might have seen through Dimension Door. But as this new hooded figure just laughs in your head, you see other figures, these dark red symbols on their chests, just start attacking the walls around you as it breaks. I need you all to make a dexterity save.
16.
7.
17.
13.
You three managed to land, but you find yourself miles and miles and miles from where you were supposed to land. The Warlands, you have no idea where they are, but essentially Faceplant, Tumble, and Goliath, whose name I've forgotten,
Valerian.
find yourself
Val.
plunged into ice-cold water and complete darkness. You hear the screams of Milandria simply come through this kind of echoing channel. Please know they were supposed to save them. And then that fades. You three find yourselves on mountain range, blue skies above you, and you are near a river which you can hear flailing, and the sounds of drowning. What would you like to do?
So I can't touch the ground of the river.
In fact, you've gone head first, and you're kind of swimming downwards.
Yep.
As you open your eyes underneath, you can see, muddy rivers beneath you, stones and such. The rest of you, can you make perception checks?
Yeah, I think we all have dark vision, don't we?
Net 20 again.
Nice.
Stop it. Leave some for the
Yeah,
rest
well,
of
I'm just using up all my luck, and it's going to be shitty.
It's going to be the best, rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
15.
As you, the darkness and the light, the white, they both kind of fade, and they leave you in this place of green rolling hills. But around you see maybe 100, 200 men, look like they're in some kind of armors. You see little tents and such, campfires. It's maybe 1 in the afternoon, and they are all staring directly at you, dumbstruck, faces unwashed, scraggly beards just open like. And as a few of them rush to the river, we can hear the sounds of splashing. Most of them get up from their camps and such. We see rabbits over campfires, and some of them draw weapons.
Sorry, I fell. Just 1 second. Quiet, boy! Oh, there you are. You alright?
Yes, I'm fine. And you?
Yeah.
And I'll address them in, hello, friends. I am a cleric of Palor.
They laugh and jeer and jab each other with elbows.
I come in peace. I only wish to spread his light.
I like
And
that.
more laughter. You've seen some of them now stepping forward, others are talking to each other. You find actually you're surrounded. You're in the middle of this grand encampment. There's a river that travels right through it with a stone bridge over top of it, and men are just walking up to you guys at the moment, just like, how the bloody hell did you do that? Came from nowhere, I saw it with my own eyes.
We fell.
Your friend needs a bit of help, and he points to the straggling...
Oh, I'll go and try and pull him out.
Go. Make a strength check. Make a dexterity check.
I can roll well.
Can I make a swim
that's
check?
an 8.
Yeah, make a swim check. It's Pathfinder.
I can make like an athletics check or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. 22 for the athletics.
Cool. So you manage to right yourself around as you realise you're in fact upside down and make your way to the side of the riverbank. As the men watching this, you try. It's difficult. He's a freaking Goliath. It's not easy. One of the
7 feet.
one of the guards points and says, he might want to be careful of that. And as you make your way to the side of the encampment, this quick thorny vine just wraps around your hand and pulls you.
Is it pulling me out of the water?
Well, yeah, technically. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm being saved. Magic.
Pulling you into a thicket of thorny tendrils.
Cool. I'm gonna struggle.
Cool. Make some strength. You guys have not seen plants like this ever before in Ukast.
Can I try and stand over the thicket and with one foot, put my other foot on his face and try and push him away from the thicket and out of it?
Go for it.
I'll do that.
Is that
13.
advantage?
13. Cool. So you manage to yank your hands away from the vines, which is just wrapping themselves around and pulling you down. You make some bad lacerations, or not bad lacerations, sorry, you make a few cuts and bruises and such. You take 2 points of piercing damage.
Oh no.
But eventually you make your way out the side to the chorus of chortles of these strange humans and armors. My friend, wonderful display. 10 out of 10. Now back to the question at hand. Where are you from?
Where's Warworld? Warlands?
The Warlands, my friend.
Yes. War.
You come from hunting orc tribes, is it?
Yes.
Ah.
Is that something that you like?
I've seen an orc or two, never one that could best me in combat. You wish to travel to the Warlands. You find yourselves very far indeed.
Oh, balls.
As the rest of these guys try and get some kind of understanding of what's just happened, you notice that they're not attuned or certainly used to the arcane methods of which you travelled to this place. And as you get a better view of your surroundings, you can see that this encampment is quite large. It looks like a temporary encampment. These guys are obviously on their way somewhere. And in the distance behind you, you can see the outskirts of quite thick forests. Very tall trees, very, very dense, would be difficult to travel into. Further north, you can see a great road. In fact, well-worn, very travelled, dark tracks of wagon wheel and horse hooves and such. And far off in the distance, you can see a grand mountain around which has been built a grand city. These circles of the kingdom that kind of travels all the way up the mountains. Look, is there anything we can help you with?
Who are you? Where are you travelling to in an armed band?
Surely you've heard of us. And he blinks a smile at you, leans back and lifts a tankard from around the campfire where he was currently sitting and downs it and slams it and looks at the confusion on your faces and says,
Obviously
Really?
not,
Yeah.
sir.
We fell. We landed on our heads. You must forgive us this time.
right, I suppose your brain not all working. You lads happen to travel with any women? And you notice a couple of the men perk up as he asks this question.
Not
No.
the way here.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, it's unfortunate. It's been a while, you know what I mean, mate? And he kind of nudges you, the co-conspirator, sleazy grin.
I can assure you I do not.
Well, We'll find some.
So, who are you?
And he points at the symbol. The Omen, my friends. The Omen.
So, bandits?
Bandits, he says. Look, mate. And he leans forward and there's this horrible stench of like rotten meat on his breath. I like you. Right. You got shiny armours. I like that. How have you not heard of us?
I spend a lot of time reading books.
A wizard played a prank on us. And just roll deception. That's a 25.
Yeah, that's a wizard, you say? Books, yeah, right. I imagine you as being those kind of bookworm types, am I right? The arcane, that terrible madness. Party tricks. Yeah, I've seen party tricks. They don't do much in combat, I tell you that.
You haven't seen any good party tricks then, have you?
So you find yourselves scholars then, men of the words, looking to have debates and philosophical discussions. Hey, my man! And there's a chorus of chortling throughout the other men, all looking as unwashed and as unkempt as the one you're talking to.
And that is why we seek the orcs.
Yeah, precisely. The conversational company.
Well, I've seen a few tribes travelling these areas. Those fuckers from the Untamed. Yeah, we've seen them. Killed a few as we can. One group of them, a bit, let's say more resilient, managed to make away with a few lives. You won't have any trouble spotting them. These fuckers think that armours or steels are only good if you take them from what you kill. Recognisable by the bones that they wear. Fucking savages, them all.
Do they mostly fight with themselves, with other orcs, or are there, particular other armies that they're fighting with?
Well, you see, my friend, these fucking Untamed keep pushing their boundaries closer and closer to our walls. Supposed to be living in some kind of harmony, I guess, but these fuckers come too close, right? But none can contend the will of us. And he knocks his friend, who kind of spills some ale and goes back and punches him. There are a few that live once we decide to kill them. Haven't decided about you lot yet.
How long have these Untamed been around?
Since the Lost Age, my friend.
You've had them around for a whole age and they haven't been tamed? My God, you're all...
You're from far off indeed, ain't you? Look, my friends. We represent and signify the more civilised of the kind of peeps you might find.
Obviously.
And whereabouts are these walls that you're defending?
Well, we ourselves from Dol Severn ain't no finer place, no finer kingdoms you'll find, in fact. And they kind of have a sense of dignity ripple through them a little bit.
Is it that city there, and I'll nod towards the mountain that we can see in the distance?
That, my friend, is Milandria. Quite a while away, in fact. Nice place. Strong, in fact. Great walls. They don't have the heart that we have down in Dol Severn. Where are you heading? Look, the Warlands is months' travel from here. I'd recommend maybe finding your way down to Dol Severn. Some good-looking lads like yourself might find easy work of some of the maidens, if you understand my jesting. Nudges you again, of course.
I don't think the letter W is in Dol Severn at all.
Look, friends. Suppose I should have led with this, but who do you fight for?
I think he did lead with this and we decided not to answer.
No. We're only here because the wizard played a prank.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even know the name of the city that you're from, so I don't think we can really pick sides in a fight as yet.
Well, that's fair, I suppose.
So you fight for your city. So you just fight against the orcs? I mean, we're not fighting for the orcs, obviously.
You really aren't from here, are you, my friend? The Alliance fights for itself, protection and such. We trade and keep the place merry, lots of fires burning, women screaming. As for the Untamed, we keep them in check, make sure they don't travel too far close to our home. But if you're looking for a good time, no better place to spend coin than Dol Severn. He flashes you a golden tooth-like grin.
How far
Does he
in
have
this
golden
direction?
teeth?
He's got one or two, yeah.
Oh.
Not probably real gold. More
Sure we
copper.
can find out.
You notice as you look around you, most of the guys in the encampment are still watching. They're still drinking and eating and such, but they're all watching you guys quite intently.
Well, I think you raise a good point. Dalsburn sounds like a lovely place. If you could point us in that direction, we'll head there presently.
Excellent, my friends. Down the road to the east, can't miss it, large walls and such. In fact, you'll be just in time for the celebrations, won't you?
Celebrations?
Ah, yes. The birthday of Maribel the Terrian. Wonderful woman. Young, but grow up one day to be the prettiest thing in the kingdoms, we reckon, eh, mate? I wouldn't bet against you on that one, my friend. Wouldn't bet against you on that one.
Well, shall we?
Yeah. How far is the city?
And he kind of puts his hand on your shoulder and leans in a bit closer. And again, that horrible rotting meat smell from a mouth that's not been washed in some time.
I breathe it right back at him.
His own breath.
He grabs you by the side of the face as well, with one hand on the shoulder. He's my friend. Just travel the roads. You'll get right there in a day, 2 days. Should be fine.
Can I insight check that?
Yeah. What's your bonus?
4.
Okay. He's giving you the straight and narrow about how far away Dalsburn is. But yeah, he is not a kind man.
That's been a pretty good insight roll.
Bad breath means he's a bad person.
Yeah.
Probably could have rolled a 1 and figured that one out.
Halitosis is a moral symptom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hold on a minute. Can we just... Do you mind if we just have a little team huddle?
So is the east in the direction of the big city?
So, the mountain city?
Yeah.
So you're built around the mountains to the north of where you currently are.
walls are.
Yeah.
And where did he point out the warlands?
So the warlands, he say, are beyond the thick forests.
But he's
Couple
still
of
around a
months
month's travel, right?
Aren't we
Couple
surrounded
of
by
months.
thick
Couple
forests?
Sorry?
Aren't we surrounded by thick forests?
So behind you, there's a very, very large thick forest. In
Right.
fact, it's got entanglements and such that you can barely see through.
Is behind us, sorry, is it west or...
Yeah, west. You currently find yourself in a more open span of mountainscape, but not like thick, heavy mountain, just rolling hills type place.
Looking at the road to the east, is that just like a straight road, or...?
Yeah, well, it snakes and winds a little bit around the best kind of ways around this part of the area, avoiding the thick, heavy trees and that kind of stuff when they are sporadically there.
Alright, I will pull everyone in and then go, who the fuck are you?
Well, I could say the same thing about you guys.
He's big. He can help us.
Yeah.
I'm good at punching things.
Okay. You want to come to the city?
No, it's in like the opposite direction.
Okay, I think we should tell them we're going to that city, and then just leave, because they seem to be quite keen on us going there. And so if we tell them we're going there, they might let us leave. And if we don't tell them we're going there, they might not.
I like the way you think, Playboy.
Well, look, they're going to let us leave either way. One way, they're going to wind up probably half dead and missing a couple of teeth. The other way, they're going to be fine. I say we just tell them the truth. If they want to know where we're going, then they can follow us and probably work as cannon fodder.
They're going to follow us regardless.
So, cannon fodder.
I'm going to look around. How many of them are holding projectile weapons?
Okay, so there's maybe half of them that are equipped with bows and half of them that are equipped with melee weapons.
And about 200 of them.
Yeah.
Do I
I mean, you're big. I don't know if you're 200 big.
They're all wearing quite nice armors as well. Talking plate mostly, except for some of the rangers who are wearing light leather armor.
You guys wouldn't need the extra equipment for this journey, would you?
Don't think so. I've got all I need right here, and I pull out my jug.
Ooh, what's that?
Mayonnaise a man could drink.
Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
I might need some mayonnaise.
So I'll break the huddle and I'll say, I'm very interested in Dulcivert. Tell me where your favourite establishment of ill repute is.
Oh, yes. You mean within the walls or the city itself?
Is it hard to get in the walls?
No, not especially. In fact, for the celebration, people coming from all around there. Should be nice. Lovely.
Yeah, and I'll deceptively say, yes, we'd love to go there. We're going to head off right now. I'm afraid we can't travel with you. So that's a +7 if you want to do your secret roll.
I rolled my perception. If you want to roll your deception
That is a 12.
against the DC nat 20.
Cool.
Look, my friend, ain't no finer place than Dulciverne for the entertainment, if you understand what I mean there. But, of course, as you seem to be men of acquired taste, let's say, we won't fuck you up. Will we?
I use insight at +3.
They don't have horses, do they?
Yeah, tons of horses.
All right. I can carry horses.
Do they have goats? Because you got a goat ball as a life one.
Phil, my friends,
I can channel that as a weapon.
I just will give you a few warnings, being as that you're new to this place. Forests, not so good. A lot of things that want to kill you in there.
I'm sure there are a lot of things that want to kill us in a city.
But is it like the thorny thing? Or what sort of things?
Well, some of these untamed beasts, weapons, the likes. Quite quick they are. Not the brightest, but they know their way around a sword or two.
Any demons?
Demons.
Yeah, in our forest back home we have demons.
You guys speak of strange things. The arcane madness. Demons.
Literacy.
It comes with reading.
Couple of people take a few steps forward. But at this point you hear the sounding of a horn, and one of the guys in the back of the encampment shouts, time to pick up, and most of these guys go about their business of dismantling camps and putting away tents and such. My friends! It's the call. We're moving further north. We've had a bit of trouble outside the walls of Milandria. And he starts wrapping up his stuff in like his cloaks and his bedroll and everything. He does it with extreme efficiency and speed. Within 30 seconds, he's got it on his back. He's got his weapons in his hilts.
So you're leaving the activities at home?
What do you mean?
Oh, you said there was like this grand party.
Oh yes, Marable de Terrian's birthday.
Yes.
Terrible Marable, we call her. Don't spread that round. Should be lovely. We've got entertainers, we've got wines, we've got people from all over. Sales as well at all the marketplaces. Should be quite nice.
Not really showing your city loyalty, are you? Going to go fight someone else's war.
No, you see. Our king, he's instructed us to travel north.
Oh.
There's been some sweeping attacks from beyond Milandria. From further north, seems that one of the orc tribes of the kingdoms up there has got a bit restless as of late. Decided to slay a couple of good men outside the gate walls. Well, the Sun Sword Alliance is one of strength. Someone attacks one of our brothers, we go and attack them right back. That's where we're heading. Anyway, if there's nothing else.
One last question, friend. At the city, Dulciverne, did you say it was?
Dulciverne.
Dulciverne. Where do I buy slaves?
Huh. My friend wishes to build an army, is that right? Well, there's no finer fighters than the orcs that get traded around here, I tell you that. Not only are they trained with the finest weapon, but we knock a bit of sense into them as well. Make them
free orcs, apparently.
unbestable in combat. I'm sure there's a few High Lords that'll be in town for the celebrations that will know where you can purchase some of those untamed fuckers.
Thank you.
At this point, the group itself is packed up and they start moving north up one of the paths on several caravans and such, all attached to the horses. Quite nice stuff that they're carrying. They pack up all their things. They've got rangers around in like a circle that are kind of scouting. All the men stand in front of and behind the wagons as they start travelling north up the high road. And as quickly as you met these guys, they're gone. And you find yourself in quite a nice afternoon as a few clouds scan through the sky. You can hear the occasional sounds of birds and such from the forest behind you. And in fact, as you stare off to watch these guys as they start disappearing up one of these roads, over top of Milandria and heading further south, you see grand ships in the sky. Great clockwork machines that are huge in size, larger than the ship you had, the Throbbing Thromin, attached to this almost like leather skin balloon wilting through the sky.
Do they look like they're heading to one of the cities?
One of which is kind of travelling in a circular motion around, but yeah, there's one that's heading further south towards the southeast.
Alright, cool.
We could use one of those to get over the west.
That would make the couple of months travel quite a lot easier, I imagine. So should we go to the city?
Head north, take the city by storm, and not necessarily take it over, just grab an airship.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Hi, I'm Valerian Torvald.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. And you?
Erdan.
Erdan. Okay. And what's in this wizard's prank for you two?
She told me nothing, but I really don't want to risk her ire. And there seemed to be some very ominous force opposing her, so I'm just going to try and keep ahead of that.
It's not like she would have let us say no anyway. Here for the adventure.
Well, I'm here for the orcs, so I want to go find some slave dens in the city. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm always up for that.
Alright.
Sounds good. I can't help but pointing out that they didn't seem to recognise that you were half orc in that thing.
They were oddly polite about that,
They were.
weren't they?
Yeah. The orcs look different around here.
I'm only half orc, mate.
Yeah, sure.
The orcs are going to be bigger, greener, and angrier.
It was actually the fact that you were wearing armours and carrying weapons that allowed them to not be prejudiced towards you.
Alright, cool.
It was actually the fact that,
Yeah.
Very good I forgot that you were half.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget too. It's fine.
That's alright, you don't see race.
Shall we?
Yep, we shall.
Away.
Okay. You guys are heading east.
North.
North.
North?
East.
East.
East. But that's towards the small town.
Yeah.
The small town doesn't have airships, does it?
There's an airship on its way from Milandria.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm eating a thing. You guys travel down the road towards the east. I shouldn't have eaten that.
Just take a second. It's fine.
As you go, the day stretches on. Nice, warm, hot, beautiful sunny day. It gets to around about 3 o'clock as you start to see Dogs Burn in the distance. Not too dissimilar in construction from the City of Perfect Gold, in that it looks like a kingdom built of men, elves, and dwarves. No kind of exotic architecture or anything like that. But as you travel down the dirt roads, are you travelling directly on the path, or are you guys heading off the sides of the path?
I guess we should stick to the path for a bit, but we can always see what other options are present.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly faster to do that.
Okay. In fact, as you travel, you do hear, after 4 or 5 hours of travel, the unmistakable sound of hoof prints coming up the road from where you're heading. However,
Sorry, from behind us.
no, from where you're heading towards you guys. But it's a single horse. It sounds,
I'm
and
going to send my raven off toward it.
cool. You guys notice the half elf kind of motions, and his bird flutters forward.
I'm also going to pull the hood over
Yeah.
and look down at the ground, and I'm going to see through the raven's eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, as the bird travels further south, you can see a single horse and a single cart, led by a single man. He is maybe 50, 60, scraggly hair, scraggly beard, somewhat kempt, but the wagon which he's carrying is just what looks kind of like barrels or something with a tarpaulin over top. But the man himself looks really, really terrified as he's travelling up this road.
Okay. Does he look like he's fleeing something?
What's your insight bonus?
3.
You get the sense that he's worried that something's chasing him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll proceed back.
The bird
to-
flies back and lands on your new friend's shoulder.
It's a useful trick.
What?
Oh, I thought you said you'd relay to the rest of us. But no, if you no, that's fine. Never mind.
Staring at the ground.
Yeah, that's a good try. I was like staring around like that.
I think I tripped over a stone and he like taunted me. I'm like quite offended.
You guys hear the footfalls of the horse stop quite abruptly, and you hear what sounds like someone dismounting. As you look, you now see this man who's got a hand in his cloak.
Greetings, friend.
And to you, good sir.
We don't mean you any harm. Could you please put your hand where we can see it?
Well, it's not like it can mean us any harm.
Sorry, terribly sorry.
Maybe you.
Is there something we can help you with? You seem to be in trouble.
You're not with the Omen.
No, we're not.
Sorry, my friends. It's been a long day. Just travelling north. Grains and such. Travelling to Milalia's farmlands.
Gonna insight check that.
Yeah, on that grades.
So I add 4.
Okay. Yeah, he seems really rattled for someone that's just travelling north.
If you're trying to avoid the Omen, that is not the direction you probably want to go on.
They're also heading north.
They were heading to the... Sorry, what's the city's name?
Milandria.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. I see.
Though I can understand why you wish to avoid them. Remarkably unpleasant.
Are you... You're not from the city, are you?
We're not from the continent, mate. Just
Yeah.
it's a long story.
Yeah.
Right.
Wizards.
You're heading to Dulciverne, though, right?
If it's that way. Yep.
A few words of warning, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
In Dulciverne, you better have coin. And lots of it.
Mm.
You see the cart behind him stir.
Moving coin?
So you have some different kind of grain here that
And he reaches back into his cloak.
Magic beans. Giants like those.
No, there's no need to be concerned. Whatever you're carrying is no business of ours.
I'm going to let my raven flitter behind me, then it's going to go invisible, come out the backside, and investigate.
Nice. Roll investigation for the raven. This guy, though, he's terrified. He doesn't trust you because he's just met you and he's reaching deep into his cloak.
Okay, just a sec.
Sure.
We're no police, no authority. We're new here, we just want some directions, that's all.
His hand comes back out once more.
That's 14.
Cool. So the bird invisibly kind of sails to the other side, and it's not tied down or anything. He kind of gets under the tarpaulin. There's 3 small children in there. One's maybe 14, 15, and the other are quite young, like 5 and 6.
Are they restrained in any way?
No, they're curled up, and they also look terrified at this point. They all kind of like intently listening to the conversation.
Right. Yep. I'll let the bird flitter back.
Yep.
And I'll ask: are there any other? Do you have people to protect here?
He's going to roll insight on you guys. Okay. Look, we just... I'd say... heard word there were jobs going in Milandria, heading to till the land. Quite gifted at the fields, I am.
What's wrong with working at Dulciverne?
And he glances back towards the city, back towards you guys.
Like, you saw the people that came from there, right?
Oh, they can be from everywhere. They roam the land.
Which High Lords was it that demanded all the coin?
Oh. Hieranditarian is a great king. A noble man. Strong leader.
Not even inside that.
Scripts.
Yeah.
You see, I just did what I needed to.
What did you do?
You don't have to give this guy a full, questioning. He'll leave him go on his way and, run into any trouble that he comes across because he's headed towards the only way that the trouble is.
Are you saying that in character?
Yes.
I'm not heading towards Philith.
Oh, good.
I'm on my way
Then what? Through the woods?
further northwest to the farmlands.
Alright.
I need a new start. Safe life.
Is there something that the average traveller like us should be worried about going into Dulciverne?
Getting back out.
Hmm.
My friends! Sorry. There's only a few hours of daylight left, and you must travel by the sun.
Of course. You've been helpful.
And he climbs back onto his horse, and you actually hear him mutter a few prayers underneath his breath as he kicks off, and the horse,
Yeah, I'll just throw him 5 gold as he goes.
he catches it, and his jaw drops. You can tell instantly that he's never held that much gold in his hand before. In fact, you can see flash through his kind of like eyes, his expressions of, this could set me up. You know, this is he's flabbergasted by this. And he looks at you with just tears streaming down his face. My sir, sorry. I can't take this.
I'll turn to the party. Looks like it's legal tender here, boys.
He recognizes
We got booze!
he recognizes the fact that it's gold.
Hmm.
Gold made of gold.
Yeah, sure, yeah, that's worth looking at. Stuff.
He doesn't recognize the coin, obviously, itself. But that's more wealth than he's seen. In tears, and in a state, he continues north. You guys notice that the horse he has is weak, sickly. The wagon is really crudely put together. The tarpaulin is old and ragged with patchwork and dirt. But as he travels, you see, just as he disappears towards the northwest, a smile creep across his face, one that has not been there seemingly for some time. In fact, as he smiles, his face kind of cracks into lines and such. And you hear a couple of whispers from under the tarpaulin as the horse disappears up the road amidst clouds of dirt being kicked up.
I'm worried about that.
I mentioned to you guys that he was smuggling children that looked like they wanted to be out.
So you're saying there might be slaves in the city we're going to? No.
Most definitely, yeah. But what, they were human with it?
Yeah, all 4 of them are human.
Yeah, it looks like no one's safe. It's not necessarily a racial slavery thing.
No. If they wanted to go, that's fine. I'm concerned that in the city, though, there might be some form of heavy taxation. I don't know, some kind of organized crime. We might have to pretend that we're someone else.
Things don't bode well so far. Yeah, I think you're right.
If you wish, we could enter the city one by one, sort of stagger our entrance.
You could go in first, and
Split
we'll
up.
all go in later.
Oh, sure, yes.
And you'll make some cover for us.
Yes, it helps that we're not seen as like a group of out-of-towners, right? If I'm a single out-of-towner and you're a group of out-of-towners, then I'm not targeted.
Yeah.
As much as maybe you guys are, or I'm more targeted than as much as you guys are. So,
And if you react badly, it doesn't reflect poorly on us if we're not with you.
yes. You know, a couple of muggers gone missing.
Okay.
We might be in for a town of factions of some sort. We might have to pick a side. I don't know that we can just wander in and say that we're no one. I think we're going to get thrust into something there. Alright, well, let's continue.
I'll give it a shot. I'm going in by myself.
Alright.
Brave
I'll
man.
meet you guys on the closest tavern.
Sounds good.
Okay. As you guys head further south down the roads, you see not too many other travellers on the ground, but you do see quite a few airships heading towards Dulcivern from around a smattering of areas around this continent, wherever you may be. As you get towards the gates themselves, it takes you about a day and a half. You travel through the night. As it gets late, you become tired. Would you wish to make a camp?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That goes fairly difficultly with what you've got on you, as there aren't too many places to hide or anything on this part of the continent. In fact, it's mostly open terrain. It's not level. It's kind of light mountain terrain. You are finding yourself kind of scurrying down rock banks and such at certain times. You don't find too many predators in the way this far. In fact, mostly it's small creatures. A few rabid dogs, a few loose dogs, birds and such that kind of travel around. The grass is quite a lot deeper than it is in Ukast. It's kind of like a very dark green. The trees and the plants themselves are also quite unique here. You've got white flowered plants, quite deep purple as well. There's creatures that you've not seen, like skunks here, that you didn't have in Ukast. One or two of those darting through bushes as you travel through the night. In fact, looking up to the night sky as the inky black sets itself in once more, you find a complete new palette of constellations and arrangement of stars. The comforting thing is the two same moons in the sky, Vo and Evo, the pink moons, signifying that you've not travelled too far, but certainly know you must be lands and lands beyond where Ukast was to not see a single familiar star in the sky. The sound of the place itself is also slightly different. Just the air sits slightly strangely, and you find an unfamiliarity as you bundle up as best you can, take off your armours and sleep through a restless, weary night.
I sleep in my armor unless I'm like really heavily damaged.
Yeah, you wouldn't get the benefits of a long rest whilst in armour.
Like, are we going rules to written or home rule?
Probably rules written.
Cool. Rules is written, you only get half your used hit point dice back
But
instead
you're
of
on-
your full.
yeah.
And since I'm on full, it doesn't really matter.
Well, you took 2 points of piercing with the thorns.
No, hit dice.
Oh, hit dice. Right.
Yeah. So like if you use them like during short rests and stuff,
Yeah.
so you don't get those back. And if you're exhausted, you don't lose exhausted.
Right.
But other than that, it's pretty much just a long rest.
Cool.
So you go back to like max HP and all that jazz.
I should have researched this.
Yeah.
It was in like Xanathar's or.
I mean, I don't know if they changed it for Xanathar's, but in Player's Handbook, that's
Cool.
what it is. I've looked into this because my other characters in my other games are like heavy armor wearers.
So, as the party falls themselves into sleep, Gorsag, you make
It takes 5 minutes to put it on.
fevered dreams. Now, you're not sure how to separate your own theatre of the mind dream from those that kind of are gifted to you in the ways of visions and such. But throughout the night, you hear that same hideous laughter that echoes through your mind and almost takes over your same being right down to your fingertips and such. But more than that, you can see these hooded figures with dark symbols across their chests, and you just get this air that they are everywhere. These beings have woven themselves into the fabric of reality like small weevils and find themselves throughout all of Elisia, in fact. And as the night stretches on, you have horrible dreams about Dulcivern and being sold into slavery. You have a dream that you have been transmogrified into a bear and are just being whipped and chained as they force you to dance in front of a small hat filled with little gold coins. Then you have a dream that Mirabel Deuterion, the girl whose birthday it is, apparently, that you've heard of, finds you and decides to cook you over a great fire. You have dreams of her chanting and laughing as she dances around a campfire as you're roasted on a grand spit.
That's actually my kink. So.
You wake up with a...
Yeah.
I don't remember there being a tent here.
Bondage and heat.
As you guys awake, though, in the early mornings, you're only another half day travel from Dulcivern, and after you pack up and kind of cover your tracks and put the fires that maybe you burned in the night away, you make your way towards the sound of celebration and jovial event as you get to the gates of what is unmistakably Dulcivern, and the fact that the great steel and silver gates that have ridiculous, lavish pictures woven very into the metal and rock itself. In fact, these grand spirals of gold like leaf patterns are inlaid into the walls. We're talking like, I don't know, 500,000 gold worth of architecture just on the gates alone. In front of these, in my opinion, too grand a gate. These unnecessarily large and complicated locking mechanisms and grand oaks that seem to come from the finest trees anywhere. You find unmistakably the same sign of the omen, but in red, and the 4 guards that guard this thing. The guards themselves have impractical weapons that are, again, made of golds and gems and such, large spire spikes that they hold each side, more for show than anything else. But as you approach the gates, they are half open at this point, and you can see glimpses through the maybe half a foot crack in the gates. But the sound is unmistakable. You hear drinks and singing, songs, the melodies of which you've not heard before. Quite a break from the familiar dwarven songs you'd hear in the City of Perfect Gold and the taverns there, that generally are dwarven songs that boast about slaying dragons. Instead, it's a slightly more upbeat, kind of jovial sound. And the guards, as you approach, you just notice they look you over each quickly, and they just do some quick calculations in their heads. And as they do, they kind of put their ridiculous staffs across each other and then clear them back up. And as you approach, they ask if you would lay down your weapons and let them search you.
Is that the standard procedure around here?
Well, you must understand. It's Princess's birthday. Can't be too careful, my friend.
What are you searching for?
Contraband, mostly.
What's contraband in the city?
We aren't allowed any travellers to bring in potions of their own.
Ooh.
Only stuff purchased within Dulciberne is allowed within Dulciberne. You understand.
Okay. I'm alright with that.
They,
Does this include recreational potions?
all potions shall be left at the gates with us.
I'm afraid I need to speak to these gentlemen for a moment. Is that okay?
Two of the other guards turn to the one that you're talking to and he kind of looks at them and says, hiding something, are we?
Not anything.
I'll go
illicit.
first.
Very well. And he kind of motions forward and he starts patting you down, checking through pouches or anything that you're carrying. Meanwhile, you've got a brief opportunity while he's doing it.
Yeah, so I'll whisk both of you away if I can.
Yep.
Behind any cover so that they can't see.
I have an explorer's
Just stand
pack.
behind him. He's like the fucking door.
I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to turn you both invisible.
Oh.
My vial is essentially a bottle of black ink.
I'm a very loud, invisible person, but okay.
Do what you can.
Okay, he grabs the ink.
You probably are
I've
too.
got a
Yeah, I
component
am.
pouch.
Yeah.
Well, you can either use that or you could
10-foot
not.
pole,
Just go
portable
back.
ram, and cards.
Cool. He takes the ink, he inspects that, pulls a small stick and tests it. He's happy with that. He
Just writing ink for my book.
Oh, very good. Scholar, it seems.
Yes.
Here to write the tales of Mirabel Detarian.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, fantastic.
Write
Excellent.
down the tales of the parties, what I see, and
Very
give
well.
it to the king.
You're free to enter, then, my friend.
Why did you make me invisible? This doesn't help.
The guy that's on the gates has not noticed any of this with a roll of 3 and 4 for his perception.
man, you are lucky.
I can say, we make our own luck and then I'm just going to leave you to deal with it.
Fuck.
He does want to check you before you go on.
And yeah, I'll just say briefly to them, they can do what they want. I'm not going to tell you you're going to have to sneak in, but you can if you want. So I'm going to submit myself to the search.
While this is going on, I'm just going to try and I'm just going to try and walk through invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and make some space for them. I'll get up close to the guard, and while he's patting me down, I'll pat him on the shoulder and this is a very good mood. I'm very excited for the celebrations.
Yes, it should be quite the affair. We've had no expenses spared. In fact, gold has been spread wide and far across Elisia to bring in the greatest, finest gifts and entertainments for the young lady.
I'm very fond of gold, but it best goes to the finest young ladies to enjoy the most extravagant things, doesn't it?
Well, you definitely understand the way it's burn, my friend. And do you have any potions on you that he finds?
I have none.
Excellent. So eventually he is happy that you're not carrying any contraband and waves you through the gates.
Yeah.
He then
So he'd
locks-
take my dagger, though, wouldn't he?
yeah. Yeah.
I'll leave that with him.
Oh, so he's taking my weapons?
He would have, yeah.
Alright, that's fine.
Okay. You do notice as he hands them off to one of the other guards, he puts it in a small collection near the gates and boxes and such. However, as you guys all enter, some of you are invisible, some of you not, you find yourselves in a grand courtyard. In fact, through a archway, a connected archway of these great grand flowers on these beams that tower in front of you. Again, we're talking exotic plants, things that you haven't seen before, but little red blossoms and things every so often. The sound of lyres and lutes, as unmistakably bards are playing some kind of sound, some kind of song here. And eventually the archways of flowers and things break into the grand courtyard where massive fountains made of golds and silvers glint in the afternoon sunlight. And looking around, you see some of the finest dressed men and women that you've ever seen in any of your existences within Ukast. We're talking unmistakable gold silks, finely crafted by, you'd assume, high elves, from spider silks and such, rare spider silks. The entertainers themselves are cartwheeling, freeform, sword-swallowing fire eaters. The people carrying around treats, trinkets, meads, wines and things. The barrels, every so often, of unmistakable dark oak, the scents of which are some of the finest crafted. the bottles themselves stamped with Minius farmlands. As you wander through, are you guys going to reveal yourselves and remove invisibility, or travel through this place?
You can do that whenever you want.
I'll get around the corner from the guards.
Yep.
And I'll try and like hide any of my more obvious weapons.
Okay. Yep.
And then make myself uninvisible.
Okay.
I'll do the same, but I have a 10-foot pike, so I can't be conspicuous with that. So I'm just gonna strut around like I own the place.
Sure. Excellent.
I just got a 10-foot bite.
Yeah. Could you take the head off so it's just a stick?
So it's just a 9 3/4 foot pike.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a 10-foot pole.
Whose is bigger?
Not about size, yeah.
Yeah. Well, one's completely
As you
wooden.
guys like rematerialize, essentially, all four of you feel ridiculously underdressed at this event, as the gold armors, which are impractical and finely crafted but not optimized for any kind of movement in battle. First thing you guys kind of recognize about this thing. The ground itself is like fine marbles and white stones mixed with like dustings of black that shimmer in the sunlight. The far side of this spanning courtyard, full of some of the high lords and ladies of this place, leads up to the grand castles and these spires that tower and cast shadow across the entire kingdom. And from great balconies that are up there, you see hanging adornments of fine banners and flowers and such. You find yourself surrounded by a lot of people, all drinking and clinking their glasses. Anything you'd like to do in this courtyard?
Immediately make sure that my bags and shit are very secure so that I can reach them easily in case of pickpockets.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And look around and see what kinds of diverse kinds of people there are. If there are only rich people, if there are poor people, like that guy we saw leaving.
Sure.
Anything else? Like
Cool.
that?
Roll some insight or perception up to you.
This is a much higher class than I was expecting.
In fact, as people walk up to you guys in these fine black kind of robes with trays full of fine wines, they've got white wines and red wines, one on each tray. They kind of walk to you expectantly, one hand kind of behind their back as they kind of offer.
I'll lift the white, yep.
Yes.
Cool, you both take kind of thing and they kind of watch and look over your clothes and just kind of in their minds assume that you must be from somewhere where that is the standard attire. And they go back.
Don't need ale.
Ale you find a lack of here. In fact, it's all wine.
That was a 21 on my insight.
Cool. So the people themselves look like they're in the midst of a celebration, sparing no expense for the entertainment, or certainly the hors d'oeuvres. The wines are very fine indeed. This courtyard is huge, but you do notice at the edges of the courtyard there are alleyways that go further into the city, and each of those positioned in the middle of is a omen, member of the omen.
And blocking every single alleyway.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. And it's only kind of rich, influential looking people that we can see in the courtyard otherwise?
So the rich, influential types and the ones serving drinks, who are still, very sophisticated, just not wearing the same niceties as the others.
Okay.
In fact, you can overhear conversations, and it's essentially one long string of brag. Yes, no, I travelled my ivory elephants here from the far lands. It was quite nice. In fact, it was a little bit rough towards the end, but it was fine. I had my servants reattach the wheels. Oh, yes, my friend. Well, I understand the plight. I had an airship here from Milandria. It took over an hour, can you believe? Oh, that's terrible. How did you survive? It was the most awful thing. Luckily, when I got here, they saw my plight and the struggles of which I'd been through and immediately put in hand a sherry wine. Meanwhile, you're being served drinks and wines and food as much as you would like.
Where's the where the airship's landing?
Cool. That seems to be somewhere on the other side of the Grand Spires in the centre.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, going to start heading in that direction. You guys want to follow?
Yep, I think that's probably a good idea.
Cool. So you guys kind of group together and I assume just take a path at random to try and get around. As you approach one of the alleyways leading off the grand courtyard, you're met by an omen who stands. Terribly sorry. As for the celebrations, these channels are off limits.
How do we get to the rest of the city?
Invitation. The courtyard is free, as is the Silver Horse. Please, spare no expense there. We have some of the finest beds, finest silks, if you don't have rooms already reserved.
So we need an invitation to get to the rest of the city?
Yes. as you understand, we have some of the finest shops in Sinjera. The Alchemist Quarry, quite the hit of the town.
Also, I don't doubt it while doubting him and inciting him.
Okay. Inside bonus is +3.
That'll teach him.
He's giving you the straight dope about the places are fine places to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
But something about him, it's not quite fear that you see in his eyes, but it's some kind of rush of emotion as he stops you travelling any further.
Okay. Who can provide an invitation?
Can I just take a pile of gold out of my thing and say, is this an invitation, acceptable invitation?
How much gold do you hold?
20.
He smiles and says, maybe enough for an ale or two at the Silver Horse.
What about the
Cheap
airships?
prices indeed.
Well, of course, it's discounted for the celebration.
Sparing no expense.
Right.
Do we need an invitation to get to the airships?
The airships are landing in the King's Court. There shall be a performance there later. Again, invitation only. I assume that you were summoned for celebrations, I imagine, and he kind of looks you over.
We were recommended by one of your staff, actually.
Oh, really?
Another omen.
Fantastic, fine men. Strong, trained in the ways of battle.
They were men. Yeah.
So who can provide an invitation?
Well, for the main celebrations, of course, the doors are wide open. People have travelled from all around to see the princess on her finest birthday. The age of 9, to be young again. In fact, the gifts have been coming fast and ready. I've seen some wonderful things. The celebrations there should be in an hour or two.
We have a gift from the Grand Master of the Church of Palor in Duskin.
Oh, fantastic. What a way to travel. How kind of you, sir.
But we weren't here early enough to deliver it. Where could we put it?
What have you brought?
Well, I wasn't told. I'm simply the bodyguard.
That makes sense. I didn't want to say, but you're not quite the type for Dulcimer.
Well, I'm not going to tell him our guard and what the gift is and spoils the prize and have everyone in the city talking about it before it's given, am I?
Terribly sorry, sir. Do you want to roll some deception?
Fuck, 1.
He basically looks you over and notes that you're not wearing finery that costs thousands and thousands of gold, and therefore does not trust you. However, maintaining his composure in the face of such a celebration, a high to-do at the court of Dulciverne, he's not going to out you and say something in an impolite or any rushed kind of way. So he simply says, well, my friend, I'm sure your gift would be well received, whatever it is. There are a few ways to herald an invitation to such a place. The fighting pits, the tournaments. If you've not been extended an invitation by the King and Queen herself, there's not much I can do. But of course, stay around for the celebration. In fact, Maribel shall be out shortly to give her address to the peoples.
You seem very well informed and very helpful. Could you perhaps point us to the fighting pits as well? That is something that the Grand Master of Palor loves a good scrap every now and then.
Palor is well known for his favour for the blood sport, yes.
Well, if you wish to contend, there's certainly no stopping you there. And he points to a small door in one of the gates that, one of the walls that adorn the centre spire.
Quite like the sound of that myself.
As essentially he stands his ground and says you can't come down this way. You make your way a little bit further back into the courtyard.
I'll send my raven down that way he blocked though, just to see what's there.
Cool. Okay. The raven flitters
Invisible or?
through.
Yeah, it's gonna go invisible. I'll tuck it under my robe, send it invisible, then it can shoot out my armpit.
Is this like 3 actions that you can do? Is it a spell that?
It's an action to go invisible on the part of the
gotcha.
raven.
Gotcha.
Not
Cool.
an action.
So essentially the guard that's standing there hears the flutter of wings and kind of goes, but doesn't see anything, trusts his eyes and turns back. The raven itself darts down, and as it darts, are you perceiving through its eye?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean on you and ask you to.
Don't touch me.
Okay, I'll lean on you. You seem more sympathetic. Cool.
It's been a tough day for all of us.
As,
Yeah, I'm gonna seem a bit drunk off that one glass of wine I had.
Yeah. Oh, the wine, by the way, if you drink it, is the finest crafted wine that you could imagine. Beautiful, subtle hints of complexity that weave together in a dance of the cosmos. Anyway, the Raven, as it travels through, you notice that about 3 kind of like blocks into it, you notice the immediate break in the decor. The fact that from the first very nice crafted alleyway, beyond is just horrible hovels of these shacks. The roads that were like blocks of white marble are these horrible paths of mud and dirt. Essentially beyond the courtyard, it's really quite a horrible place.
All the exits off the courtyard are pretty visible, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
The courtyard itself is massive, and within it there are fountains, entertainments, bars, and a few places that you can go that lead further on. There is the Silver Horse, which is not too far from the courtyard. It's one of the...
Tavern, right?
Yeah, and there, again, you see this grand building of silvers and such.
Cool. Down one of the Silver Horse is probably like on a corner or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's cornering one of the alleyways.
So there's the courtyard itself is like this, and you've got the grand castle in the middle. You got the alleyways that kind of come off here, and then just in the corner there's the Silver Horse.
All right, cool. So it's got like an alleyway on each side, sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like kind of pathway, and then it kind of curves down.
All right, cool. I say we should check out the inn.
It's not a bad idea. I think the fighting pits is worth a look as well.
There might be clues.
There might be clues. Well, you're interested in slaves. I can only imagine the
that's a good
slaves are going to be at the fighting pit.
You get to kill some.
And I'm not necessarily saying we need to participate in the fighting pit, but that is a...
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm generally anti-murdering slaves, but...
Bold
Did the
stance.
fine chap suggest something about invitations extended by the fighting?
He did say that. But
You can win invitations to some of the events in the fighting pits.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes, let's do that.
We could go to the inn first, because then we can just have a look around there and...
Yeah.
Sort of see how people are living.
I don't want to miss the princess address.
Of course. Of course.
That should be in an hour or so.
Townspeople.
but yeah, up to
We
you.
will
I'm
never
I'm
do.
happy either way.
What if the 9-year-old girl has something insightful to say?
I think
I
checking
want
out the inn is a good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Such true words have never been spoken.
If only we'd got our pony that shits diamonds.
So as you guys head northwest to one of the grand areas of the courtyard, where is the Silver Horse?
Sorry, as we're travelling.
Yeah.
Any of you guys be any good at, say, pickpocketing or anything like that?
I could try my hand at it.
I'm guessing the person who's not 7 foot tall, I'm afraid. Yeah.
No, I'm not as dexterous as you might lead to believe.
Not really.
Never mind then. Let's go to the inn.
Okay. The Silver Horse itself is maybe a 20-table tavern. The tables of which are dark oak, adorned with metalwork of gold and silvers. The outside of the building itself is small plants and small trees that kind of go around in a circle that are surrounded by grand walls of painted silhouettes of stories of the land, that kind of thing. Inside, you're all kind of like off-put by the fact that it's the most civilized place. The card games, there are no daggers at the tables. None of them are drunk. No one's wearing any hoods. There's no cheating going on. They're all just playing with these grand chips as they look at their finely crafted cards, which you notice aren't even marked. You're like, what the hell's going on here?
That does not feel like home.
You know you can hide those cards, right?
Essentially around one table there's just elven, what look like lords, just throwing chips into the centre, kind of bantering and barking. The food that's being brought around is on silver plates rather than like crude ones made of coppers and such. As fine foods piled with little adornments and such are being taken to each table. You notice no bar fights. Everyone's wearing nice clothes. No one's asleep at the tables. It's very, very off-putting. But as you kind of make your way in, as you get towards the bar, which has an entire wall full of ales and wines and barrels and such, you just get 2 omen pushing past you, both of them hoisting a small child. The small child is wearing complete just rags and is in tears, and the omen throw her onto the ground, kick quite swiftly in the stomach, and then start pushing and dragging her off.
You there! What do you
both-
think you're doing with that child?
Look, my friend, I suggest, and that's where we're going to take a quick 5-10 minute break, because I need some coffee.
I mean,
Yeah,
do you?
I do. Otherwise, I will not be able to continue for the next hour or so. So we're just going to pause, go refresh your drinks, grab some snacks and such, and we will be back in 5 to 10 minutes.
But think nostalgic.
Thank nostalgic.
Okay, I'll spell it.
It's nostalgic with a 0 and a Z.
Yeah,
Nostalgic.
N0ZTALGIC.
Leet speak. Now that is cool. I haven't seen that since the 90s. All right, nostalgic. All right, thank you very much.
It's just the 90s. You were like 3.
Yeah. So stands to reason. I was on the internet.
When you were 3, you're looking up leak
Yeah,
speak.
I was on
Yeah,
like
exactly.
forums and hacker forums and shit. AskBillavista.com. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us along. We're back in like 10 minutes. Go and refresh your drinks and grab snacks. And thank you for Nostalgic for, I assume, following us?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's awesome. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to Black Winter Nights. How's it going in New Plymouth? Nostalgic, it's great to have you. I'm just currently watching you through the cameras that I had installed in your house during the break.
It's a lovely shirt you're wearing.
We talk to all our viewers.
Yeah, it's a really nice
It's probably why we don't have a lot of viewers.
glass of wine that you're drinking there. Is that red? It's got quite the robe on. You're really pretty.
Okay, move on.
Anyway.
It's creepy now.
Thanks for joining us here tonight. This is the first game of 2018, hence the rusty DM. But no, first game of 2018 for D20 Multiverse. And when we last left the party, they'd found themselves smack bang in the middle of a new continent that the passing name of which is Sinjera, and had been tasked by Milandria to find the Warlands. However, through the influence, interruption of the arcane, ended up very far from there indeed, and instead travelled to Dulcivern, where they find themselves in the Silver Horse, a place of grand finery, nice wines, and two grown men beating a small child and kicking them out the door of the tavern. The child itself in rags is now on the ground crying, tears streaming down her face, with a big black bruise on her cheek. The omen simply turn to you, Gorstark, who has interrupted their task. Look, mate, this does not concern you, alright? I suggest you back up.
What crime could this child possibly have committed that leads you to treat them like this?
This one, and he delivers another swift kick, and the child...
I suggest you
leaves
don't do
the-
that again if you value your ribs, my friend.
He He turns back to you, no fear across his face, but he takes a half step closer. This one was lifting bread from the kitchens.
Ooh,
Looks a little bit too
better
scrawny
kick
to
it
be able
right.
to do
That'll
that.
teach it.
Well, you've obviously
done.
found a criminal mastermind there. Well done for you, my friend. Well done.
The other one grabs her by the hair and reaches her to grabs her by the hair,
It knocks things off a table.
wrenches her to her feet and kind of shoves her towards one of the alleyways. The other one turns and just keeps kind of like, and he's just pushing her forward. But the other one's like just deadlocked on you. We are the power in this city, my friend. You within our walls, we keep you safe at night.
From what?
Beggars
You?
like her.
I'm
Children.
I was very,
Oh God, no, not the assassins.
I'm terrified of hungry children. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
She was stealing. That's a crime here.
What's the penalty? Really?
Make sure she doesn't do it again, right? And at this point, she's in tears, crying.
So
And
she's
you-
getting dragged off down an alleyway?
So I'm going to walk up and say this.
Yeah,
Been
can
a
I just follow
misunderstanding
down
here.
the alleyway?
So essentially, she's been taken out from where you guys entered, and the closest adorning alleyway that was blocked from that point,
Alright.
she's been taken down there, with the omen that was guarding that alleyway still standing as he's let them through and stands back in his place.
Can I break off from what's happening here
Yeah.
and go and look for like a back door somewhere? Like through a kitchen or...
Sure, roll some investigation. He kind of watches you and lets you go. In fact, as you leave, you notice a bit of a relief on his face as the Goliath is no longer there, and he's now kind of calculating 1, 2, possibly 3. He's like, oh, I'll be able to take them, kind of thing.
13.
Cool. Yeah, the kitchen itself has a back entrance, back exit, but that kind of goes to a small compost outside. There's no way from the tavern itself to get too far of anywhere. There is the wall, and they've kind of gone that kind of way. If you
So
could
the
scale
compost
the
is
wall.
sort of like,
Yeah,
what,
just
like,
like
gated in sort of thing?
yeah, and like a little wooden picket kind of thing, just full of
Oh,
mulch
so I
and
can like
stuff.
just walk through it?
You can watch it there into the back where, again, there's these large walls. Now, you do know that somewhere over these walls, if you could scale the wall, you might be able to find the way there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I try that?
Yeah, sure, roll some acrobatics.
I'm going to approach the guard and say,
Yeah.
clearly there's been a misunderstanding. That child is the property of our master here, and the bread was also the property of our master. He'd ordered the bread, and now here you are, kicking the child, devaluing his property.
My friend. Okay, deception. DC 4.
Ooh, I rolled a 4, but I have a bonus.
Okay, alright. My mistake. But he looks at you and sees a half-orc. And he turns back to you. Lord of where, exactly?
Grand Master of the Church of Palor of Duskin.
Never heard of it. You're in town for the celebrations.
Yes.
We've travelled very far.
Bring her back! And you now hear the returning cries and sobs of the girl who's being not as forcefully, but still pulled and pushed. And she kind of lands on her knees. This belongs to you, then.
I'll bend down and pick her up by the scruff of her neck and go, get over here! And then just put her
Okay.
out of sight around the corner or something.
Sure, you can hear the shakes and sobs of her behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Look. Obviously, we've got a misunderstanding. Keep your servants on a tighter leash. And remember, gold buys bread. She kind of he peers around you. Let you keep your hand this time, sweetheart. And turns and starts wandering off. The girl, however, is just inconsolable. She kind of looks up at you, sees the tusks of the half-orcish face, and you can just see a look at her face like, oh, this is it, I'm going to die, he's going to kill me, I'm going to die. And she's just in tears.
Don't worry, I'm not from around here. I'm not after you, don't worry.
Yep. Let's order a room. I want to try and get somewhere private to talk, so I'm going to go up to...
Yeah. Rooms at 150 gold.
I guess we can pull our
A mere
resources.
pittance.
The barmaid who has got long fucking wood, orange hair, tied in two plaits either side. Absolutely beautiful. You assume some kind of elven blood somewhere in the lineage just by the angular kind of face and almost pointed ears. She kind of watches you approach, and you just see her face like kind of concerning as she sees people that are just kind of wearing armors and not cloaks and such.
I'll try not to flinch. I'll put the money down and I'll plan to steal it back later.
Okay. Certainly, sir. And she hands you a small key attached to a wooden block with a number kind of beautifully inscribed upon it. She takes that and tinkers it, and you hear gold upon gold that goes into the tills and such. And she goes back to, pouring fine wines for the rest of the patrons who are still playing their cards. As you guys head upstairs, you hear the barmaid call out in a kind of sing-songy way, 10 minutes to the princess's address.
I'm going to send my raven off after the gold just to see where it goes.
Sure. The gold just goes into actually quite a nice little machine behind the bar.
Oof.
Kind of like a till, but not quite that sophisticated.
Right, looks pretty locked, does it?
Yeah. The rest of the bar, however, goes about finishing their card games and start packing up and head off to hear the princess's address. As you guys take the small child into one of the ridiculously fine rooms with nice candles made of golds that are burning brightly. We've got silks upon the chairs and the cushions, and the beds themselves are the softest fineries you've ever witnessed. The curtains themselves have adornments of silver spirals, and through the beautiful glass forged in the heart of a dwarf star. It's ridiculously lavish. But the girl is kind of just terrified. She stopped crying, but she's kind of watching all of you. Look, please don't kill me.
We're not going to hurt
Fear
you.
not, child. We will not hurt you.
And she kind of looks at you and goes, you guys look funny. Where are you from?
A long way away. We fell. It's a long story.
Mm.
Hey, you're from the city, right? You've lived here your whole life.
Yes, sir.
You know how to get past some of these guards. You came from the outer areas into the courtyard, yes? You know how to get back out?
Yeah.
Even for someone big like me or him?
No.
Hmm.
We found...
So is there a window in this room?
Yeah.
And it's pointing into the courtyard.
Correct.
Alright. I'm sure I can figure out a way to find a room with a window that isn't pointing into a courtyard.
Yeah. Cool. Alright. Yeah, you guys...
Can I investigate that?
Yes, investigation.
9.
Okay. Most of the doors are shut and such.
I mean, to me.
Shut as in there's people in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, yeah. Room service.
I'm just so hungry, man. I just needed to eat. And you can now see that she's quite gaunt. Dark circles on her own.
I'll offer her some rations.
She doesn't even hesitate. Could be poison, could be anything. She doesn't hesitate. She eats it, scarfs it down. And then she eats a small portion. You can see puts the rest away. She wants to save or give it to someone. Or
You good at sneaking around, opening doors, getting places you aren't supposed to be? We're not from around here. We're not the Omen. We're not anything to do with them.
we found just a small gap. And she points out into one of the courtyards. There's like a series of bushes. They haven't repaired the wall yet. I just needed bread. My family's hungry. Haven't eaten in days.
We could use someone with some information, some street smarts, some ability to get around.
You need my brother, Kieran.
Yeah?
Ain't no finer lifter of coin.
Yeah?
He's, well, and you can see she's just trying to determine if she can trust you. He's,
I'll give her 2 gold.
Also, if he can get us invitation to the rest of the city, there's more where that came from. He can lift it off someone.
This can't be real. And she clinks it together.
It's from another place, but it's gold.
She puts it away. But Kieran, ain't no one better. He can do locks, coins, but I haven't seen him in 2 days. It was strange. There we was. We were making instruments. That's what we do. We're crafters. Most of the commoners here are. We don't get paid much, but sometimes it's enough to eat. But then Kieran starts talking. He starts talking about how he wants to see the world, how he's leaving. Says he's going to Milandria. Says he's moving. We ask him why, but he doesn't respond. Didn't look right. Then he vanished the next day. We haven't seen him since. So I know my brother. He wouldn't just leave me here. I've been waiting for him to come back. Sometimes I think I hear him in the middle of the night coming home, but then it's just the wind, you know.
Has anyone else that you know disappeared like this?
It's happened a few times. People that are happy, well, happy enough, they just suddenly say, she kind of trails off. He's got to come back. He's my brother, you know, the only one that looks after me, really. My father fell ill a couple of weeks ago. He hasn't been much of himself at all.
If you can, and forgive me for speaking on your behalf, Grand Master of the Church of Paylor, if you can help us get around the city, give us some other information, perhaps eventually help us get an invitation to some parts we're trying to get into, there are things we can help you with. One among us is quite a powerful healer, Lord of his church, in fact.
I'd be more than happy to have a look at your father and do all I can for him. But that
Shoot.
would require us getting into that part of the city, which is our main problem at the moment. Do you have any ideas of how we could get past the guards sort of starting a fight?
You're an alchemist, aren't you? That's how you heal. You're an alchemist. I knew it. And she goes to run.
Wait, I'm not an alchemist. I've no use for potions. My healing comes from the god Paylor.
And her face softened. You need help getting past the guards?
Yep.
That simple. Men, persuaded by 2 things. Girls and ale.
Ale, you say? Now we're talking about
Now there's your use.
Look, I can't leave my house. My father, he's... With Kieran gone, only got me to look after him. I can't risk leaving him.
I'll give her another gold piece. Can you buy medicine and food at least for a week with this?
They won't sell to us.
Who won't?
And she kind of... The lords, they don't sell to us. They make us craft. We give them everything we've made. They go and sell it for hundreds of gold, and we might get a copper every couple of weeks.
Where's Marks when you need it?
We're not allowed in the shops.
How do you normally get food then?
Scraps. I can cook a rat stew. It's my specialty.
Shit.
Well, if the guards are interested in ale, you have an easy source of ale, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. Very true. God, this is a backwards place.
At this point, you can see she's now moved over to the curtains and is looking through. And you can see a look of pure anger on her face as she stares out to the courtyard. As you guys kind of make your way over there as well, you can see all the lords and the ladies now in the courtyard, all clapping as the chorus of the sound kind of just echoes through the courtyard as Mirabel de Tyrion stands out on the grand balcony. This kid of about 9, very chubby cheeks, bright red, fine silks and dresses. You can't hear what she's saying, but she's addressing. And the small commoner girl that you're with kind of angrily shuts the curtains, turns around. She gets everything. and we get nothing.
That's royalty for you. What's your name, child?
Arvin.
Arvin. My name is Orthanc, and this is Gorstag. And these two are slightly odd, but so far they've been alright.
Thank you for stopping the guards. They're not above killing kids, I've seen it.
I believe it after that.
Do you know much about this tavern that we're in?
We don't... When we have the money together from Kieran's heists, we don't come here.
Well, not from like staying or anything, but from like sort of casing the joint, from looking from outside.
It's hard. A lot of the gold's under lock and key. Generally, what we do, we
Entry points.
Oh, do you know where the key is?
Keys are kept in the kitchen, small boxes. It's bountiful, sure. A lot of stuff to lift. It's just a lot more difficult than, say, the Dagger's Heart.
I think the hardest part of this has to be getting food for your family. Well, how do you get food at all other than catching rats?
Sometimes, well, before they fix the wall at least, we can jump to the compost. Sometimes they leave half good tomatoes. Then if Kieran ever finds something worth stealing that we can shift or sneak our ways into someone else's house. But it's been harder lately without Kieran. I'm not quite as quick as he is.
Has it been like this your entire life?
The commoners,
Yeah.
since I can remember.
Look, you seem like a good sort looking after your family. I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to say, don't get caught.
Okay.
Be intelligent.
God.
And don't knock things off the table.
All
You
right.
just passed it along.
No.
But no, you're in character. You're just giving it to the girl.
Yeah.
These are fine crafted. These, and she tinks them together. That's real gold.
And they're probably worth more if you keep them whole.
I understand. And she nimbly puts it away, and in one flurry of emotion, kind of vanishes. Very kind strangers you are. We don't see that very often.
Yeah, well, had enough of the wank around here.
Alright, I'm going to go about. I'm telling these guys, I'm going to try and climb the walls on the compost heap, see if that's like our easiest bet getting through. If I get over, I can throw a rope over for you guys. How high are the walls?
20 feet?
Yeah, I can throw a rope over.
Okay.
Otherwise I can like call out and be like, guards, I found an intruder over here, and then run around the corner and then beat him up.
While you do that, I'm going to go and get one drunk.
Alright.
Cool. Okay, so make some acrobatics.
Or athletics, or...
Yep. Either.
Because I'm a strength guy, not a dex guy.
Sure.
If I can punch handholds into the rock, I will. That is 23.
Alright. More than enough, as with your Goliath legs you run, put one foot on as much of a foothold as you can get, spring, catch, lift, over, plonk. You find yourselves in a... what's the word?
Small?
No. Yeah, that's the word I can't think of. Small.
Hey man, brain parts happen.
A spider web of little alleyways and such. Around you see, it's maybe 4 in the afternoon at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Around you just see, swallowed. Broken houses, barely, like shacks really, just tin roofs on poles of sticks of wood. The poorest place bar none you've seen in quite some time. The streets are just mud and dirt. And around, there's not too much going on. There's the occasional sound further into the place. As for the guards, as you exit the Silver Horse and make your way towards the courtyard, you see the offerings that are being placed for Mirabel de Tyrion. The guards watching intently, everyone kind of like scanning, as the crowds of these lords and ladies in high-turned collars with silver hair, silver and gold sometimes, like in plaits, and Mirabel, her fat little stubby hands over the rails of the balcony, peering forward. What did you get me? What did you get me? And this beautiful dark-skinned woman with these gold kind of rings around her ears steps forward, and she motions as an ivory elephant steps forward, essentially an albino elephant. fine creature, worth tens of thousands of gold, that kind of rare quality, adorned with a little travel kind of built room on top, great silks and such with little bags. The bags themselves full of gems and coins as they kind of jingle as she motions, this person steps forward. Looks like a gift from the Shadowlands, one of the creatures from there. And Mirabel peers over, her greedy eyes looking at the elephant, and she reaches back and she turns to one of the Red Omen, the higher ranking guards next to her, and she simply says, I wanted a shadow elephant! Shadow elephant! Do you... And she points and goes, and two guards immediately step forward. The woman who had been presenting the elephant looks, realizes her mistake, turns to run, is grabbed, kicked down onto her knees, and in a swift movement, beheaded. The elephant itself is next, across the throat. It falls to its knees, piles to the ground, and gets dragged out of the courtyard. Mirabel, seemingly pleased, leans back. Who's next? And shaking merchants and lords present the next offerings. What are you guys doing?
She sounds like the adorablest little kid.
Staying the fuck away from that. Oh, that sounds awful. I want to go back to the same guard that we had the initial discussion with.
Yep, he's still there at his post.
Cool. Are you guys with me at this point?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be with you.
Okay.
I'm just wandering around the back streets now.
I will just saunter up to him.
Ah, we meet again.
Ah, yes. I just came back to celebrate good old Mirabel. Isn't she delightful?
Our princess. Wonderful woman.
Wonderful, wonderful indeed. Hey, do you like magic? Do you want to see a magic trick involving ale? Yeah.
I can make you
He
disappear.
kind of leans forward. Look, I know you're not from around here. The arcane madness is not something you wish to flaunt.
Oh no, not arcane madness, none of that. When I say it's a trick, a gimmick of sorts, you know.
Oh, you're an entertainer here for the silver.
Yes, yes.
Right. Well, I enjoy a good jest as much as the next folk.
Oh, you'll love this. Watch this one. I will get the alchemy jug, tip it upside down, shake it, empty, right?
Right.
Right. Have a look in there, empty, right?
Right.
Now, you like ale. You like wine? Do you prefer wine, ale, mayonnaise? What do you like?
More of an ale man myself.
Okay.
Nice glass of mayonnaise.
Yeah, what's last one of the mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise and ale.
Ale. Slosh, slosh, slosh. Do you have a glass?
He reaches in. Sure, tank it, sure.
Good man, good man. Pour it in.
His hand shakes. He smells it.
It's good stuff.
Dwarven, right?
Yeah.
That's a fine trick. That's fine ale. He kind of relaxes his posture a little bit. Can you do that again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tops it off and he continues to drink. More impressed at the skill, he now abandons his task of watching the crowds, too enamoured with the ale itself.
How much ale do you think I could hide in this?
4 cups? 5 cups?
Shall we find out?
He reaches forward. Alright, he's going to make a con save.
Okay.
And he gets pissed.
Lord.
5-6 down, he's essentially given up on watching the crowd. I mean, they're well enforced anyway. And he starts talking to you. He starts saying, look, I didn't want this. You know, I wanted guard, I wanted outside guard duty. I wanted scouting. But no, look after terrible Maribel. That's my quest. That's me. That's what I do now. You understand?
Yeah.
I trained for years with sword and shield. I have to watch that fat little prick with her fat little face. It's just not fun, you know. It's not exciting. It's not why I got into the guards. You know what I mean, my friend?
You know what I like to do after a couple of ales with a friend is go on an adventure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Let's go see if we can kick a few street urchins, shall we?
Okay, persuasion with advantage.
Alright. Oh, that's strong character sheet. This is going to be interesting. 12.
Sure, that's enough. You rolled a 4.
Yay.
Yes, my friend. That's what I need. Some adventure.
I'm just plying him with ale the whole time.
Nice. He abandons his post, and the alleyway is open.
Oh, I'm just a
Is
lovely
he coming-
little
is he coming with
street
us, or-
urchin. Da, 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 da.
He's gonna pick a fight with you. He's drunk enough.
Oh, look at me, I've got like short little legs and all that jazz. Tee-hee.
Cool. So he heads off. He follows for a while. Yep.
Cool. I'm just gonna ask him where he wants to go, really. I'm gonna try and lead him on without indicating anything I want to do, and then I'm gonna try and ditch him as soon as I have him going on
Cool.
path.
He mentions a place called the Dagger's Heart. He wants to go there and gamble.
Sounds great, lead the way.
Cool. And he does. He leads.
I'm gonna go piss first, and I'll lead him.
Cool. And he's lost. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know that kind of thing where it's like 3 a.m. and you're on some quest to find a half-eaten pie or some kind of thing,
Yeah.
and you travel across the entire city. It takes like 2 hours on buses and things. That's what he's doing. Yeah.
One shot, the adventure of the
Yeah. In fact, throughout his adventures, he finds a small bar fight that he managed to break up, which gives him a bit of glory. He even finds some ale in a card game that he wins, which makes him even drunker. He sleeps with the barmaid, wakes up with a road cone. Anyway, that's him. The celebration continues. Mirabel, she accepts about 10% of the gifts, and the rest are not exquisite enough. Some of the stuff you see presented, like fine crafted plate mails, weapons, a replica of... No, you don't know what that is yet? No. Gems, encrusted crowns, tiaras, scepters. Some of it she accepts, most of it people get thrown out of the courtyard. Goes on for several hours.
They're not all murdered if they're
A
considered.
few of them
Yeah.
are, absolutely. There's a travelling merchant with a turban who brought 3 stones, and he, as you come back, you can hear him hurriedly trying to explain these are arcane stones. They are destiny stones. They're worth a lot. But Mirabel's screaming about how she wanted rubies and sapphires. These are clearly not them, and he's getting dragged off. But you make your way back to where the guard was, and there's now an empty alleyway.
Cool.
Unguarded.
Well, yeah, gesture quietly for these two to come along, and I suppose we can't see where Val is at the moment. can
I'll
we?
try and find my way.
I imagine a 7-foot Goliath is going to stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send my raven high so I can see as well.
Yeah.
Gonna stand out.
So I guess we just want to go down the alleyway basically and get out down the poor parts of the city.
Cool. And as you do, immediately like 13 steps into this place, you just see the immediate change in decor. I mean, you've seen poor areas, you've seen squalor, but this is another level of it. You can see people, pretty much everyone who's working tirelessly crafting, and we're talking fine craftsmanship. The tools themselves are even quite nice, and the level of detail that they're putting into shields and staffs and stuff, which will probably end up in some bargain bin somewhere. It's a lot of work, but they're gaunt. They're all wearing rags, and they all kind of watch as you approach, and they all kind of perk up. You come into a small gathering of crafters. There's maybe 10. Most of them are elderly, like maybe 50, 60, 70, and a couple of younger ones as well who just kind of watch you with like bright wide eyes, very, very dark kind of brown eyes, and they just kind of watch you. Their skin's a bit darker, and they kind of watch as you approach, and some of them kind of hide a little bit behind their parents and kind of peer out from the sides. The houses themselves are very poorly constructed, shacks and stuff, no windows or anything like that. The doors are just like bits of iron that they've kind of put together, hammered together. And they'll kind of stop what they're doing and watch. And you've seen this look before. It's generally followed by a motion to put hands on weapons, but they don't have weapons. At some point, an older gentleman, maybe 70, human, grey, grizzled beard that just goes right down. Lost travellers.
Well, in the sense that we don't know where we are, but
Yeah,
we're
just-
definitely not supposed to be in there, and I'll point back to the courtyard.
And you can still kind of hear the echoes of Mirabel's ceremony, and they just kind of look at you, look back to where you're pointing, look back and say, "Our gracious queen, long may she reign."
Sure.
Are we still with the street urchin that we found before?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
She, in fact, as you approach, runs from the side to the old man, hands over the food and gold that you've given, whispers in his ear, and he kind of turns back to you. "Not from here, are you?"
No. Very
Yeah.
far away.
This is your father?
She says, my grandfather.
Your grandfather?
He kind of looks around. Not here for the ceremony, not here to steal from us.
Not from you, no.
I dare say this might be some kind of fate, some chance meeting. Something of the gods, perhaps. And a couple of people at the mention of the gods kind of bow their head and do a little prayer.
On that note, which gods do you follow here?
Gods, Estes, mainly, Pelor.
Pale, right?
He says, the gifts of Pelor, widely noted in this area. The lands surrounding Dulciverne are great, those for farms, agricultures. The blessing of his light is found here and beyond.
Well, may his blessing be upon you.
And you, my friend.
I think we were just passing through, but I mean, it seems like you could use our help, somewhat.
That could be an understatement.
We do have some business to attend to here. We're looking for different things, but your granddaughter has been a great help to us and very
kind of
informative.
strokes her here.
And we did offer to help the girl's father, who apparently is sickly.
Yes. Terrible illness struck him suddenly. He had ventured back into the court and beyond, trying to find my grandson, Kieran. And then after that he became violent, couldn't speak, he's been sick, he can't move.
Can you take me to him?
Sure. And he now kind of, again, looks distrustful but remembers Pelor and kind of just pushes open the rough tin door to his house. And inside you can just see, not beds, but small piles of sacks that people have been sleeping under, and just a shaking, horrible, sweating mess under one of them. And the little girl rushes to his side, falls to his knees, and just kind of, it's okay, Papa, it's okay. These ones are nice, they are.
Can I just examine him using a medicine check, please?
Sure.
That is a 13.
Cool. Yeah, it looks to be some kind of poison. You can see the familiar dark kind of black veins stretching.
Yep.
Yeah.
In that case, let me find the spells.
Cool. Look, Father, found help I did. Rich ones these are, not like the others though. Look, and she holds out some of the coins and clinks them together. Look, Dad, look, Father, look. He's not, he's just shaking and sweating. She kind of like strokes his face and then gets sweat on her hands and puts it to the side. You'll be alright, you will. These ones are going to look after you, they are. Worshippers of Pelor, powerful. They're going to make you right, they are. They're going to make you right again. And we'll be a family. It'll be fine. Hey, Father.
Is the grandfather here still?
Yeah, he's at the other side of the room, standing and looking a bit concerned.
I'll wander over him and just ask him, look, we're looking to stay out of sight of the patrol, the omen around here. Got any tips for keeping out of their eye in these parts of the city?
Most of the time, they only venture here to return one of us if we leave our designated zones or steal the wares that we make. Sometimes they just like to come and fight us. They'll challenge us, but, you know, we don't eat, we don't sleep well, we're not trained like they are. I suppose it's a bit of sport for them. As for the way out once you leave the common areas, I mean, that's where they're stationed, especially throughout the celebrations. They don't want people to know. The great facade of this place, people think of it as one of the great kingdoms in the Sun Sword Alliance. They don't see the truth.
So I'm going to cast Lesser Restoration on the father, which cures poison.
Cool. So essentially you take a few steps forward and kind of put your hands gently on his chest, which is just drenched with sweat. Through his rags, it's just soaked, and you kind of put your hands on his chest. And as he shivers, you can sense immediately that he's quite close to death, like a day at most. The poison's just about to take him. And as the light of Pelor kind of pulses through you a little bit, you just feel this shimmering like shield of golden light through him. It kind of matrixes his way through his organs, and you just find the corruption and the poison and slowly just draw it out of his form. The black veins slink back and vanish, and the sweat stops pouring, and he just kind of opens his eyes. and sits up, and is still quite weak because he hasn't eaten. He hasn't been able to eat. He looks up and sees an unfamiliar face, but one of kindness, softness, and he kind of looks down at himself, looks back up. Wow. That was close. Whew. I don't believe we've met.
Gorstag, blessings of Pale be upon you. I've met your daughter and father.
Right. Grain.
How did you come to get poisoned?
And he looks to the girl, Ari, and it's just a look of like, can we trust them? She just nods. I think it was the omen. They made me drink. He rummages around through his like the sheets on his bed or the sacks on his bed. He holds out a small like empty vial. They grabbed me down, forced me to drink this.
I'll take it from him and like smell it.
Cool. The violet roll insight.
That is 16.
Cool. The vial itself is very finely crafted. It's got like metal work at the edges. It's perfectly tempered. Glass vial. The stopper on it is beautiful. The smell of the liquid is horrible though. Acrid. It smells like death. Yeah.
Why would? I mean, if they were trying to kill you, why not? Why did they bother with that? Why didn't they just kill you?
I don't think it was just death they were after. Look, he kind of leans forward. You have to understand, these people, they don't care about us. We don't register on their map as anything more than pairs of hands that can do their work. But lately it's been a bit, let's say, different. My son, he knew his stuff, he knew the city. I don't believe anything that he said that night. It wasn't him talking, you understand? Didn't look like him even.
I've seen the same.
Do you think the potion was meant to do that same thing to you?
No. The potion... I think they're experimenting. Have you been to the Alchemist's Quarry?
No.
It's the grandest shop in the city. The Detarians, lords of this place. That was their trade. Their rise to power. Their rise to wealth. None could match the quality of their potion. And as their fame grew across the land, so did their stature. Till they could buy entire kingdoms just like that. We have no choices. We can't leave. We can't afford to. Some try and snake their ways over the walls, but they're usually hunted down as quickly as one would hunt down a cat.
For what crime? Leaving.
Yeah, abandonment. Abandonment of the king and his land. You're not allowed out. Not unless you get a pardon. That never happens. Not really. All they see us as, all of us here in this place, on the other side of that wall, all they see us stock. Bodies.
If it's been like this for so long, what stopped you from rising up against them?
Any kind of emotions. We have no weapons, we have no strength.
What kind of strength do they have? They have the omen. And apart from that?
I don't think they need anything else. Sometimes someone will try. They're usually not heard from again. But Kieran was not the type to abandon his family. I know that.
And he just vanished one night. Just one night changed completely.
Right.
And this has happened to other people before.
There's been more and more. The Omen come. They visit a house. Looks like a routine sweep, raid or to pick up some wares. And then they change. Someone starts saying they're going to leave, they're going to run, they're going to do something. But it's not them speaking, and then they vanish. At first, we just thought people were trying to find a better life, make their way out of the city. Maybe they'd heard of work going or something. But they're not heard from again.
If it's the Omen doing this, and they're poisoning people and regularly beating and killing them on the streets, why would they bother with any kind of subterfuge? Why would they bother?
It's a good question. I imagine it's probably not up to the Omen. Not their style.
These potions, are they made at the alchemist's quarry that you mentioned?
The Alchemist's Quarry is the shop that sells the finished products.
Where are they made?
Somewhere within the castle.
And I suppose the castle is heavily guarded, Omen crawling all over the place.
Oh yes.
Bloody great.
I believe within the castle walls it's the Red Omen. High-ranking officials.
Do you know anyone who's ever broken into the castle?
Kieran talked about it. Said that in one pouch of the stuff you could find in there, we could feed our family for 1,000 years. Look,
If we were to find weapons, do you think the poor in the city would be willing to fight?
I know some that would, but most would not.
Okay.
We're not mercenaries. We try to do something for our families. Bring something to the table. Maybe sing them a song or two and hope that through that they can find some kind of life here.
You may not be mercenaries, but you're no beetles either. Are you not all craftsmen? Can you not craft weapons? If you banded together in secret, perhaps, could you not form some sort of unified group?
If we spent our time on crafting things we're not tasked to do, and we couldn't give them what they needed when they came to take it from us, well, I might not be here to protect my daughter.
What do you get from crafting these items anyway?
Couple of copper, maybe.
And where can you even spend that? From what I've heard, you're not allowed into any of the shops.
The Dagger's Heart. One place that they allow us. A farce, really. It's mainly the scraps of the Silver Horse.
Right, and I suppose that's run by the Omen or the higher-ups.
Correct.
Well, I think we should pay this place a visit. One other question. This is not related really to any of the other topics, but more of a personal endeavour. Do you know of any slaves, particularly orcish slaves?
I
in the city?
hear very little outside the city walls. I know the Detarians themselves are not slave traders, but certainly some of those who've been invited to the ceremonies dabble in a bit of black-handed.
Do you know who fights in the pits if they're not slaves?
Mostly the fighting pits are men from the Omen. Those places are brutal. Those fights are to the death.
Could you lead us to, what was it, the Dagger's Crest?
The Dagger's Heart.
The Dagger's Heart.
I can, yes.
At least point it out for us so that we could find it.
It's right on the edge. It stands up and kind of falters a little bit.
Or perhaps someone else if you need rest.
Ari, you know the place. But Pop, look! I'm okay now. Just go. Right, you lot. Thanks, by the way. I'd give you something for it, but she kind of motions.
You already have, that was our thing.
Well, follow this way then, and she leads you out.
I'm going to leave the Raven there just so we can listen if the guy talks about us after we leave.
Cool. Yeah, he does.
Invisible or just like...
Invisible.
In fact, he talks to his father, the grandfather, about being saved by Pelor's life, and
Cool.
goes on to a little bit of a rant of the grace of the gods.
I'll relay all of this.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
So Ari leads you instead to the Dagger's Heart, which is not a nice place, but certainly better than some of the houses that are around. It's kind of like if you were in a retirement home and they had like a fake shop type thing. Did that make sense? I don't think it did. It's kind of just like a gathering place for some of the commoners that is supposed to give them a sense of, hey, we do have a kind of life here or freedom, or there is some purpose to crafting, because look, we can spend a few copper and get half a meal or something. But the inside of this place is much more like the taverns back in the City of Perfect Gold or Blackwinter. In fact, the commoners, when they're here together, although most of them are drinking complete piss water ale that's just badly, made in the back rooms kind of thing, the singing is more prevalent here, those that can afford to, and there's that sense of camaraderie that you didn't get in the Silver Horse. It's more of the harder workers that kind of, have just been paid for some of the stuff that they've made, or this or that. It's like, what's the word? It's like gallows humour. They kind of band together and have a little bit of a celebration while they can. But yeah.
Are there any omen that we can see in the bar?
Yeah, there's a couple that just seem to be taking stock and making sure that supervised fun.
And the alchemist store, that was the one that was in the square?
Yeah, the alchemist quarry is one of the shops within the courtyard.
Cool.
We should probably not draw any extra attention to ourselves unless you're willing to start a fight.
Yeah, not yet.
As you enter, some of the people that are the omen themselves don't really recognise you. They know you're not part of the commoners because of what you're wearing, and they kind of keep an eye. The commoners, of course, they also recognise you as not being one of them because you've got armours.
We have things.
So yeah, exactly. So you do attract a fair amount of attention. The barmaid kind of looks at you. She's got dark black hair covering one of her eyes, and she kind of just looks lost, gentlemen.
No. We're after some drinks, actually.
Sure. And she just brings cracked, broken glasses and asks for a cup of copper.
I'll
Do we even carry copper? I don't have any money on me. I spent it all on a portable pen.
Yeah, I'll give her a silver maybe.
One sec. And she puts the cups away and brings back nicer, but still not perfect cups.
Oh, cool.
The omen, however, one of them is not really paying too much attention. He's talking to an older man in the corner, but the other one who's kind of watching in the corner just kind of perks up a little bit and looks at the four of you. Kind of puts a hand down on the hilt.
Ale.
Right. And just automatic reaction, kind of pours
Thank you.
some ales.
Any of the omen red omen?
No.
What's there to eat around here for a hungry traveller?
Well, we just made some stew.
What's in the stew?
Ratatouille.
I think I'll stick with ale.
Cool. The people in the tavern, they watch you guys for a little bit and then go back to their conversation. Omen in the corner, hand on weapon, kind of watching a little bit worried, but there's not much he can do because this is his post. Watch over the commoners while they have their fun.
Let's go get is there an empty table we can sit at?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's sit there, drink our ale first and foremost, and then talk about what we're actually doing here. Yeah. I didn't think this far ahead.
We're gonna go get a ship.
Or we could sneak into the castle and disrupt the alchemy business.
Or we can disrupt the alchemy business after the thing that the witch sort of sped us along.
In a few months.
Yeah. Well, no, it'll take us a few months to get there, but she's like, it has to happen now, right?
Well,
it might be something this might be related to it. If there are experiments being conducted on people and people are mysteriously vanishing.
You'll feel pretty silly when we find a magic potion of get to the Warlands.
Oh, yes, but I'd rather fly in a fly ship. The potions have one use. Fly ships can crash into things and deal actual damage.
True.
From the sound of it, these ships that are coming in aren't just here for hire, right? They're travelling in from somewhere else. So how do we acquire one? Either we buy one or we commandeer it.
Yes.
And if we commandeer it, then...
It's not like they can chase us unless they've got their own airships.
Well, there's more than one airship.
There's more than one airship. I think they can chase us.
Not when we're through with them.
Well, it seems like we're at the same purpose then. I feel like the alchemy business would be quite disrupted if we have killed everyone who's involved in it. So,
Genius.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just maybe this kind of social upheaval caused by an uprising and overturning the power in the city from the current rulers would probably be quite beneficial to us in making that escape. And it would sort of feel pretty good. So.
Absolutely, I like this.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so how do we follow this
So
up?
we can do a detour.
So we should figure out what we need to do to get into the castle, I think.
I
I
reckon,
can talk to one of these omen.
I reckon we can knock a few out and disguise as them.
I go liar. Yeah. Could work.
Hello, I'm an orc. I mean human.
Well, you can be an intruder that we caught. and-
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all we have to do is cut off a hand or two, and your disguise will be perfect.
Like, I can hide it in a sleeve.
Yeah. Just bundle it up, throw some
I will
blood
have
on
to
the
bloody.
sleeve.
Yeah. We'll have to bloody you a bit, but sure.
I mean, does it have to be my blood?
Sure. Yeah. There'll be plenty of blood to go around. Yeah. So I'll quietly use the raven to eye up which of the guards looks the weakest. Looks like.
Sure. Probably the one talking to the old man
Hmm.
would be the weaker of the two. The other guy's watching, not doing much else.
Are there any guards? Are there rooms for sleeping in this?
No. This is where you come if you've been working for weeks and weeks, managed to save enough to get a drink, and some nicer food than catching rats.
Is there like a back room or something? Like, is there like another?
There's
area at the
a
back?
room that's the kitchen, but it's tiny.
Yeah. Well, I have something of an idea. We could buy several rounds for the house, keep people nice and look out, start a commotion, and in the confusion, drag the guards into the back room, give them the bash, and see how we go from there.
I'll talk to the one that's eyeing us up.
Okay. Yeah.
And, like, bring my jug over and sort of sit down with them, and it's like, what brings you to this side of the city? I thought you didn't like hanging out in these parts.
He kind of watches you, and he's intimidated just by the sheer size. Even though he thinks he's probably got the one up on you in the speed, you can see him kind of going, okay, all right. And he's like looking for any weak spots in your armor as you approach. As you sit down, he does as well, and he just simply says, just overlooking some of the craft. Got a high yield this circuit.
I guess you drew like a short story or something today, or
It's not the quality of one's work, it's the integrity with which one carries out one's orders.
oh no, completely. Like, I feel you in here, man. I was once like you, and then
So
I
we're
went
splurging
adventuring.
While that's going on, I'm going to go up to the bartender,
Yeah.
give her a gold, and just say a round or two for the house,
She
and then and I'll say that quite loudly, obviously, so people are aware of it.
They kind of, you cause a raucous of people that start cheering and stuff. The guard that's talking to you kind of like peers over your shoulder at what's going on as the ale flows, and the bartender just takes the coin, and you can see this look of just like, holy shit, I could actually, if I escaped, I have enough to feed myself, kind of thing. Meanwhile, the guard,
Believe in your work.
there's much for our wonderful princess that needed to be created for today, and I'm just here making sure that those who did a good job have their reward.
How kind of you. How I was wandering around these parts. I'm fairly new, as you can see. I was wondering, how does one become an omen? Is there like a form that you fill out, or?
The Omen, the well-trained men and women of the Sun Sword Alliance, sworn to the Detarian.
I thought it was like your kingdom's army, sort of helping out with the other kingdom's armies.
We come from all around.
Ah.
The scouts tend to be further south. Some of the rougher of the men, more trained and suited for the combats of the wilderness. Myself and my brethren here come from further north.
City folk.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Comfortable with where you're at.
It's no finer kingdom in the Alliance.
I feel you'd say that. So
How many
as
in the room?
20, 25
How many what?
people.
Or omen? How many omen?
Oh, two. Sorry.
Just two.
Yeah.
So I would have to get like an audience with the king or something to make my way as an omen?
Most of the training takes place in Milandria. And then
That was
gets,
the big mountain city. Yeah.
But then, depending on your skill, is depending on where you get stationed. As for yourself, I would imagine a scout.
I feel that. I'm no, what's the word? Weirdo to the outback.
Meanwhile,
Stranger.
Weirdo
I
is
think we
close.
would like a song. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, and I'll start
Alright.
stomping and starting to get attention,
Yeah.
and then pull out my guitar and play really basic, like sea shanty kind of thing that people can get the hang of very
Yeah.
quickly and start singing as well.
So I'd say, yeah, performance.
I'm gonna urgently walk up to the old guard who
Yeah.
was doing stuff and say, "There's been a crime. There's been someone stealing from the kitchen."
And immediately he stands up and trudges over to the kitchen.
And I'll like gesture you, like, "Come with me. Let's
Yeah.
go do something." And
That was a 17.
Nice.
bring him to the kitchen, and I'll gesture for you to bop him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the place goes up, and the raucousness of all the beer that's just been poured, and the song, and the place rises. The guard that's talking to you kind of watches, making sure that no one's getting too out of hand. Meanwhile,
I'm gonna do some bopping.
okay, roll an
Pop
attack.
it, twist it, interrogate it.
That's not
Kill your
so
parents.
good. What's that? That's a 13.
Does not hit. He is wearing armors, and as you swing at him, as he goes to see, he's like peering around the kitchen. He doesn't see anything, and as he turns, he sees you swing. But this guy's no stranger to combat. He immediately pulls up a shield that is not on his hilt, but kind of back down. What the fuck? And I need you to roll initiative.
Am I able to see this happening as well?
We won't go with battle map though.
Sure.
Yeah. We don't have time.
I'm obvious enough.
One.
Cool. Okay.
15.
Okay. So I've forgotten your new character's name.
It is Odan.
Udan, you have first
apostrophe in there.
first swing. Essentially, he sees you attack, and he raises up his shield, deflects the attack. Just a look of confusion on his face. His other hand goes for his weapon. The other guard talking to you does not notice this, as he's surrounded by a chorus of people singing as Orthunk plays his song.
Cool. I am going to instruct my. I'll do it. Instruct my raven to change form into an imp and sting him.
Right, so the raven swoops down, and as it does, it turns in mid-air from a raven to quite a pointy-eared little imp that plods to the ground and rushes forward to attack.
And it gets a 12, so that sucks.
Does not hit. As the guard now pulling his sword out sees the imp, a look of more confusion as he kind of bats towards it. He takes a few steps backwards to survey the encounter. Turns to you with his initiative, and he's just going to swing his sword. That would be a 17.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay.
So what's the mud man on the other side?
Cool. So that's 10 points of
Yeah.
slashing damage. As immediately he just goes into full combat mode, and these guys have been brutally trained in the ways of this kind of stuff. So he just rushes forward to you and slashes across your chest. Gorstark.
I'm going to cast Hold Person on him.
Sure. What's my save?
Nice.
That's what.
DC is 14. Wisdom.
Yeah, fails it.
Cool. So
And
he's
immediately,
paralyzed.
as he swings it at Erdan, cuts across, and you can see him smile as he sees a little bit of blood trickle. And then he takes a step forward, ready to like go for the kill shot, and just all his muscles, just like being shocked, just seize into place.
Nice.
And you can kind of see Gorstar like that gives you like a one-up kind of like thing from the other side. You're up.
Cool.
You've got advantage on attack rolls.
Brilliant. I'm going to go for an Eldritch Blast.
He's
Nice.
paralyzed. Can you do coup de grace on paralyzed?
It's just a crit, right? Automatically if you hit.
Yeah.
How does it work on ranged attacks?
Oh, I think it's different for
If you're
range
within
and melee.
5.
Attack rolls against the creature have advantage. Doesn't specify melee.
Oh, nice.
Any attack that hits the creature as a critical hit, if
Right.
the attacker is within 5 feet.
Yeah.
That
I'll
was
get
it,
that
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put my finger gun right to his throat.
Nice.
Bang!
Eldritch Blast, alright.
How did it
Eldritch
do?
Blast.
Bastard.
So as you do, and he's just like this, and he just sees you like, and his eyes are not quite paralyzed. He kind of like looks down, and it's like this little purple glow.
So advantage, right?
Yeah.
So? Yep, so that is almost definitely a hit for that first one on a 21.
That hits.
And I also get Does a 19 hit?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. So that'll be
Oh, you're imp as well.
D10s. Oh no, I can't do anything unless I tell it to.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
your action to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So as the finger touches the throat, and kind of like you're now reflecting the same smile he just showed you before he was paralyzed, and there's just like this little purple ball.
Yeah. I hope the holy man doesn't see the satisfaction I'm getting out of this. So that's a 6 and a 12, 24. So 32 damage.
Jesus.
As this
Damn.
little purple ball just glows, you can see like he's never seen this kind of arcane before in his life, and that's the look of fear that leaves his face as the back of his neck and small pieces of his vertebrae just smash against the wall behind him, and the spell kind of fades as he just collapses dead on the ground, still completely obscured by the crowd that Orthunk has raised. They haven't even seen this as they're staring this way. All their backs are to this encounter as they like raise their ale to the sound of your music. The guard hits the ground. The guard talking to you kind of says, "Suppose I should calm these ones down." Goes to Sam.
Should we get? Should we get the other one?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'll go out and yeah, okay.
I just really quickly need to get some tea towels and put them over the head stump so it doesn't get blood on the uniform.
So basically, you've blown a hole like through there. So his head's still on the neck. It's just
Yeah,
hole
just,
through there.
Cool.
a very
Alright.
nice, clean hole.
Yeah.
All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to go out and not tap on the shoulder of the other guard and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, your friend needs help back here," and gesture at the.
That guy cannot keep himself out of trouble, and he stands and wanders over, pushing his way through the crowd quite meanly. He's like punching and pushing people out of my way.
My imp's gonna go invisible and sit in the doorway so he trips on it.
Okay, all right. I'll make a dex save. Fails the dex save. My friend, out of the way, and he strides forward with the cocky walk of someone with great stature, and hits the ground as prone. If you wish to surprise attack,
I would love to.
go for it.
This is the greatest use of a familiar I've ever seen.
That's pretty good.
It's fantastic.
What else are they for apart from doing that thing where someone kneels behind them?
They're invisible. They're perfect for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very impish activity.
Yeah.
So is this, if it's point blank, it's another coup de grace?
It's advantage.
He's got prone.
He's
yeah.
prone, he's not
Yeah.
paralyzed.
Cool. So that's actually probably a miss with a 13.
Yeah, miss.
Yeah.
But he hits the
But
ground.
I've got a second ray and that does hit
Okay.
with a 26.
Yeah, it definitely does. All right, roll damage. Again, you kind of raise your hand, and this little purple orb kind of just appears and shoots off across the sky. Who's like trying to get back up from the ground and just kind of catches him full in the chest.
So yeah, was this a crit?
Not for
Not for prone,
Not
just
for prone.
paralyzed.
Yeah,
Cool.
paralyzed is like kind of
Yeah, it's
nice to give to other people.
Yeah. Okay, 13 damage.
Cool. Rips across his chest and digs quite fiercely into his flesh. Does not kill him as he tries to stand.
Do I have a chance to attack before he gets up? Or?
I'd say roll initiative.
Okay.
Oh, he's got a nat 20, so he's definitely going first.
I got a nat 20 as well, actually.
Okay, what's your...
I've got a -1 for dex, so it's
Okay, so he will go
Good play
first.
that game. I'm only 17.
Cool, alright. He'll swing at you. No, wait, he hasn't seen... He's going to swing at you, I'd say. Goes for it. No, with a 3. He kind of staggerly stands up and he goes to swing, but the side of his body where the his sword hand is the one that's been badly burnt by the Eldritch Blast, and he can't really get the strength to swing. Who was next? You. So go.
Yeah, so I'm going to attack.
Yep.
That's correct. That's going to be a 9 to.
You swing back, even in his current like wounded, feared form. He just managed to bat your attack out of the way. He hasn't seen you on the other side.
Cool. Yeah, I did shoot him. That is a 17 to hit.
That hits.
And a 14 to hit.
Does not hit.
Cool. So 17.
So essentially, as he was prone, he wasn't too sure where the Eldritch Blast comes from. He stands up, he swings, he misses. You swing, he parries, he turns,
11 damage to him.
and this one scatters across the side of his face. A few teeth fly off as the force of the blow is enough to knock him down, unconscious. A couple of the bar men singing do see this, as he kind of staggers and falls unconscious and bleeding to the floor, and they kind of, something in them snaps, and some of them just start kicking his body and kind of punching as the raucousness of the song, this kind of like almost mob mentality, gets a bit out of hand. especially with the
This is
ale.
fine.
I'm not stopping them.
Yes.
The ale that's been flowing has kind of created this little bit of a riot kind of thing. And as they all kind of start hitting the bodies of the omen, one of them shouts, "These men will fall! Come on, lads!" And they all charge out of the dagger's heart.
Okay.
I'm gonna super quick strip one of them and put on the clothes.
Is the unconscious one still alive?
That's fine. We went and made a distraction.
Yep.
Good job.
A lot of the drunken barmen are now pouring out of the tavern and rushing towards the courtyard.
Was the courtyard?
In metagame terms, what armor are they wearing?
The guards?
Yeah.
We're talking plate.
Oof. Yeah.
We can forge this into my armor.
I'm concerned now that those people are all going to die.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
first they'll tell people that there's a group of strangers in town and what we look like.
And that we murdered people.
And that we murder people. Let's get out of here.
They'll cause a distraction while we get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Alright,
idea.
so how are we getting in? Orc and me are prisoners.
We don't
And
even know where the...
we need to request a castle or airship to fly over to the castle and just sort of drop down because I've got featherfall.
There's no way we'll be like, can we get your airship so that
Yeah.
we can go the 2 blocks that way? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, no, so that we can take the prisoners to like some fancy town like the one that we also could have gone to.
Milandria.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
How many apostrophes are in that name?
2.
Yeah, our immediate concern is just getting into the castle, and then we'll work out what we do from there. So I'm gonna. Are there any
Yes, but we've got to get into the castle.
any cuffs or anything on the dudes? Did they
Any
do-
keys?
Oh, right. A couple of shackles, a couple of keys, yep.
Yes, I'll cuff you guys, but give you the keys
Okay.
in
Cool.
your hand.
Let me set the scene. Mirabel Deterian, looking down upon her subjects, having graciously accepted a few gifts, but mostly murdered a few merchants and none of the lords, obviously, but some of the ones who were tasked to bring the gifts by the lords. The crowds themselves beamed down upon by the afternoon sun as they turn and banter with their fine drinks. Then the sound of chorus of shouting as these drunk commoners pour out of the common lands, attack with essentially like woodworking tools the guards stationed at the edges of the courtyard, just into their legs till they hit the ground, and just rush forward into the crowd, attacking and slashing at the high lords and ladies invited to this event. Mirabel Deterian claps as she's pulled inside by a guard as the doors slam shut on the balcony. The cacophony of this horrible mess of the omen drawing their swords and hacking through the bodies of these men who have caused this kind of riot, as some of the lords and ladies, greatly wounded, kind of hit the ground, blood soaking through their silken clothes. Everyone in this courtyard is now either running or engaged in combat, as about 50 of these commoners, then picked up a few more, just start rushing and beating as shields hit away commoners. Commoners are beheaded, commoners digging tools into the chests of these lords and ladies. That's where we're going to leave tonight's session.
Oops.
So,
You've given the people hope.
Yes.
So, that is the first episode of the new story arc of Black Winter Nights, the first game live stream for 2018 for the D20 Multiverse. Thank you guys, Leonard, John, Nosferatu, Nostalgia, for coming along with us tonight. We're back same time next week for the continuation of the story. We will find out what happens with the revolt of the commoners of Dulcivern in Sinjera, a wonderful land of Elisia. Remember that in a couple of days there's the next live stream of Eyes of Elisia, first one for the year, which will take place in the same continent, just with a different party in a different part of Sinjera. Thank you guys very much for joining us here tonight on the D20 Multiverse. For myself, Oliver Dungeon Master, and my lovely players, Black Winter Nights, we bid you good night, evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world.